Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning. I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room and then we can get started. I'm currently in that US 30 scalp. If you guys are in the premium, you guys saw the trade that I took. So I'll be watching that meanwhile. But let me go ahead and set up this room real quick and then we can get started with the session. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll be doing the same thing we do every day. Let's be answering questions and I'll be trading live with you guys with regard to the scalps that I'm looking at. It's actually in profit right now, so it's looking pretty decent. Let's check this real quick. All right, looks like for the most part, we're pretty much good. I'm just gonna send these links out real quick and then we can get started, guys. Let me check this real quick. Looks like we should be good to go. So let me go ahead and send this link out and then we can get started. Close this off right here. Send out this link to our Telegram groups. We should be good to go. So yeah, guys, just a reminder, I'm in this scalp right here for US 30 using the snipe strategy. So let me just this out real quick. It's about to open in 2 minutes. So we'll see how this spikes around. It is a risky trade because the market is just opening. But well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully it spikes up. All right, I think links are sent out there. Check this out over here. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Yeah, a lot of people who are showing up early, they have they're subscribed to the YouTube channel, so they get an email whenever I go live. So they get in like way before we even get started. So let me post this link up real quick in all the groups. All right, a few last places right here, and then we should be good to go. One last place is the Instagram, and then we should be good. So yeah, our US 30 scalp is looking pretty nice so far. Let's get this on the Instagram real quick, and we should be good to go. I think other than that, I think it's pretty much set. That swipe up button. All right, I think we're good to go, guys. So let me check out the chat real quick, see what's going on. Good morning, John. Morning, David. Morning, Peter. Morning, Jeremy. Morning, Saquon. Morning, Chelsea. Morning, Dwayne. Morning, Tent. Morning, everybody. So let me check this real quick. Let me see what else is going on here. Yeah, guys. So for the premium members, I'll send you guys a link to the Zoom. I'm not going to be answering any questions on there. So if you guys have questions, you still have to put them in the YouTube chat. But since you guys want to follow me real time, I'll send you guys a link here, and then you guys can join in. So let me just get you guys a link here. What's this up over here? Crazy. US 30 is moving right now. It's going to keep bouncing around like that because the market is just opening. So this was a risky trade. I didn't realize that the market was just like literally just opening. So that's how we're getting the spikes in price. I just sent you guys a Zoom link right there in the premium, guys. So if you guys are in the premium group, you guys have access to the Zoom link where I will be. If you guys want to follow live, you guys can follow live there. But I'm not going to be answering any questions. So hey guys, how's it going? Hey Smokes, hey Gene Vaughn, hey Matt, hey Sam, Kimmy, Mary, Dennis, morning everybody. So I mentioned earlier that I took this scalp here for US 30. I made like a small mistake here. It was not really a mistake, but it was a risky move because I took it right before the New York Stock Exchange open. Obviously, you can see right here on this opening candle, it's spiking up and down, right? That's normal for a market open. So generally, I don't like to take trades like right before it opens. I like to hold off because of this specifically. But it might swing back up. You can see right here, it's swinging right back up as we speak. It's just going to have a lot of whipsaw action currently until, you know, the market stabilizes after it's reopened. It's pretty much all of the aftermarket orders that are getting filled in. So you see it spiking around and then people are pushing it right back up. But it's cool because if this candle closes like this, where there's a nice wick rejection down here, this would actually provide for another scalp entry. Oops, delete that. Yeah, so if this ends up closing like that, there's another scalp entry right here, actually, right? It's a rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure, and it's shooting right back up. So if you guys want to enter this late, if this closes right here, you can actually take another scalp, like right above here, and I'll mark that up in about 6 minutes for, you know, when it actually closes. So let me check this out over here and see what else is going on. Saquon said, "You feeling risky today, big bro?" Yeah, no, definitely, bro. I was like, man, you might as well, because I saw this right here, and this looked like a really clean entry right here off this one. So I was like, I'm gonna take it. And then I looked at the clock, and I was like, damn, it's about to be 6:30. Like the market's just about to open. So, you know, obviously this is a risky trade. I'm already in it, so there's no point in me pulling out. Damn, look at this drop right here. But usually, so this is cool too, because when this happens, like there's a drop on market open, it usually ends up just spiking all the way back up. So I'm not too worried about it. I got my TP stop loss set up ready. So, you know, whatever happens, happens. And I'm going to keep holding on to it. So we'll see. We got about 5 minutes left on this candle. And after that, we'll, you know, we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, guys, so it looks like everyone from the premium is getting into the Zoom. The reason for the Zoom is so you guys can have real time, so you don't have that little delay on YouTube, and you guys can see, you know, my scalps as I take them. So right here, I'm still waiting for this to close. We have about 4 minutes left on this candle. If this ends up stopping me out, it's fine. It was my risk that I took on this, so it's all good for that one. Otherwise, let me see if there's anything else for us to look at here. Your odd position is still running right now. It's in profit. It swung up and it swung right back down. I think our G over here hit full TP already. So that hit full TP about a couple hours ago. So if you guys took that G right there, full TP, and then our NZD USD position right here is swinging back up right here. There's this big spike on this candle right here, rejected off the structure, and I mean, not rejected off the pivot. Then it came back up, and then now it's pushing through structure. So I think the NZD USD is looking fine too. We only have 2 positions running for Forex right now. They're both pretty decent. And then on top of that, we have, you know, the US 30 position. Look at these huge spikes right here, guys. This is what I mean about the opening candle is super manipulated. So you can see that it's spiking up and down like 400 pips, like, you know, every couple seconds. So I think it's going to shoot up. If it does, you know, I'll give you guys another scalp entry if this does close out. And then, I mean, if you guys want to hop in late, you guys can, but I'm already in the position. So I'm probably not going to stack it. I'll probably just hold on to this initial one that I have, and then I'll see how this ends up playing out. Otherwise, we're going to be looking for our daily entry today as well. So let me just mark the market open right here. And I will be looking for the daily entry. All right, we got about 3 minutes left on this candle. So we'll see how that plays out. Let me pull up the chat again. We'll see what's going on here. All right. Yeah, Tim. So I gave out the Zoom link today. It's in the premium right now. So if you guys want to hop into that, you guys can. But just like I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to be answering any questions here. If you guys have questions, make sure to put your questions in the YouTube chat, because I'm not looking at the Q&A here on the Zoom, because there's just too many windows for me to look at. So just have both windows open if you guys want to, and then you can also just pause the YouTube video if you don't want to watch it on there. But make sure to put your questions in the YouTube, because I'm not looking. I do see there's one question right here on the Zoom, and I'll answer that right now. But anything following this, I'm not going to answer them. So Yoon is asking, US 30 cash and Dow Jones are the same, right? Yeah. So US 30, US 30.cash, DJ 30, Dow 30, they're all the same thing. It just depends on what your broker calls it. All right, so that's it for that question. Now I'm closing my Zoom, guys, so I'm not gonna be able to see the Zoom. So if you guys do have questions, just put them in the YouTube. Hey, Charles, how's it going, bro? Hey, Ty, nice. Ty, say good afternoon from Cape Town. Welcome, bro. Nice to have you here. Like, it's good to have people from all over the place here, because everyone's on a different time zone. Yeah, guys, I'm just watching this US 30 right here. If this ends up closing with the body, like, up here, it'll provide for another buy entry for US 30. So that's pretty much what we're waiting for. If you guys have any questions, if you guys want me to analyze anything, feel free to put it in the chat, and I can analyze, any pair that you guys want. Otherwise, my main session in the morning is for me to scalp. So I'll be focused more on US 30. I'll be looking at other indices as well for any scalp entries. But for the most part, if you guys have questions, I can take a break and answer those questions as well. Anyway, morning, bro. All right, so we got about a minute left on this candle. Once this is closed, then I'll look through the Forex pairs, and I'll see if there's anything else that I can look at over there. Meanwhile, as we look for scalps here. Hey, morning, Deswell. Sam said hit the likes, people. Yeah, definitely. If you guys haven't hit the like button on the video for the stream, that definitely helped K2, so we can continue to grow and find new people that need help with trading. So if you guys can like and follow the YouTube channel, that definitely would help. And then it'll give you incentive to continue coming on these live sessions with you guys. Otherwise we'll probably make this private and just have the Zoom call for the premium members. But I don't mind coming on here and giving you guys free advice every day. So we got about 20 seconds left on this candle. If this closes, it's going to provide for another scalp entry for whoever here wants to hop into this late scalp. All right, the zones are good. Let's mark this up right here. All right, guys, so this candle is closed right here. The late scalp would have started right here if you guys wanted to take it. So these would be the parameters for this late entry for this scalp. Entry price would be 31,488. TP would be 31,534, and stop loss would be 31,438. So for you guys here on the live, you guys want to take this scalp. I'm already in this scalp right here, so I'm not going to stack this just yet. Just want to see how this plays out first, and then I'll probably stack some positions later. But I'll just set these parameters here. It's already active if you guys want to take it. If you guys want to enter the market order or something. So I'm just going to put the parameters right here. This is going to be scalp number 2. TP. Setting alert so I can follow it. I'm not in that trade though, so if you guys want to take it, you guys are more than welcome. But I'm already in this scalp, so I'm not going to stack it up just yet. So this is risky, guys. I mean, these are risky trades because this is on market open. So if you guys want to take this, feel free, but just keep in mind that this is a risky trade. So I don't necessarily advise it. until like the market has stabilized. But if you guys do want to take it, it is available. Here are the parameters for that second scalp right here. But this is my current position right now. And the reason we took this trade is because we use the K2 snipe strategy. We have the rejection off the pivot right here, rejection off the structure. So we're anticipating a momentum swing upwards from this point. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are wondering, why we took this trade. So looks like US 30 is frozen. I don't know if it's frozen on your guys' end. Let me see if I can fix it here. I don't know what's going on. US 30 looks like it's completely frozen right now. I'm not sure if it looks like that on your guys' screen. Hey, DCC. Good morning, K2. You're amazing from Johannesburg. Yeah, definitely. Glad to have you here, DCC. So guys, I'm watching this right here. That was weird. Do you guys see that? US 30 like froze for a second and then it started moving again. So we'll see how this moves. I mean, obviously the market's moving pretty crazy right now. Market just opened. So unless you guys want to, yeah, Dennis said, for those of you who are not liking, I hope you, oh man, Dennis, you're funny, bro. Anyways, so I'm done looking at US 30 for now. I will, I'll look at something else next, and then I'll come back to this like a little later. I don't want to keep staring at it to see like what's going to happen here. But the first question here we have from Greg. Gregory's asking for S&P. So I'll analyze S&P on the higher time frame first, and then I'll go to the lower time frame after that. So let me go back to the S&P. Yeah, so if you guys remember my analysis yesterday for S&P, it played out exactly like I mentioned, right? So I mentioned yesterday that, and it's really simple, guys. Like I mentioned that, rejection off this point, we had a rejection, buy signal, breaking structure, shot up, rejection, breaking structure right here, shot up. And then the same pattern just keeps repeating itself, right? Right here, we have the rejection, buy signal, breaking structure, and then it keeps shooting up higher. Same over here, just kept doing it. And then yesterday, when I analyzed it for you guys, I mentioned that if price was to break structure right here, it's going to continue pushing up. And that's exactly what happened, right? It's the same pattern that just keeps repeating itself. And it's proven to be pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and take everything off the chart, and I'll just analyze this again from scratch so you guys can see how I came up with that. So here is the naked chart right here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn on the K2SR indicator. And then I'm going to draw my zone so I can identify where these structures are. And these structures are on point because, obviously the K2 algorithm identifies the exact rejection points where price is rejected at in the past. It's not just it's not an estimation. It's an actual price point that has been tested, X amount of times in the past. So we got those set up right there. Right there. All right, so S&P obviously is at all-time high. So I just drew the zones for you guys, and you guys can see that's how I determine, where price breaks and closes past certain structures. So you can see here that we just drew these zones today, but you can see that the same zones have been tested, pretty far back up until December of last year, where it was below this, and this was a previous all-time high. And then it ended up, obviously pushing up higher and higher from that point. So looking at S&P right here, I mean, it's at an all-time high. There's no telling whether it's going to continue pushing or if it's going to come back down. But the same pattern that I was mentioning earlier, it's the same thing that just repeated itself. We had the rejection right here. We had the buy signal right here. We had the break and close past structure right here. And then it ended up, obviously pushing up to this next structure over here. As soon as this broke and closed past this structure right here, it just did the same thing, right? The only problem here is that we don't have an upper structure. So the easy part with these entries is that we had an upper structure. So we knew exactly, where it might be swinging back from. So for right here, we had this push up, and then we knew it was going to either break above here or reject off this point. It broke above it. So at that point, it continued to push up higher. So it conducted like a small break and retest, broke structure, retest, and then it shot back up, right? So that's pretty much what we saw here. But where price currently is right now, there's just no telling whether it's going to continue pushing because there's no structure up here, right? So it can literally, keep pushing up here, or it can swing down from here. So we really don't know what's going to happen from this point. All we can really do is just wait and see, how this ends up obviously playing out. I personally wouldn't want to enter this now. I'd want to wait for some sort of confirmation before we take it. And the market just opened. So like with the market just opening here at 6:30, you're going to see like unusual like movements in price. You want to wait for the market to stabilize first for it to determine the direction, because it's going to move back and forth off the first candle, and then it's going to stabilize, and then it'll determine direction, whether it's going to keep going up or if it's going to come down. So this is the analysis on the higher time frame. Next, I'm going to look at the analysis on the shorter time frame. Like, check out these spikes right here. The market's just, this is what I mean about when the market just opened at 6:30. You have like these crazy spikes in price because there's just market manipulation on market open. It's always like that every day. It's nothing new. But I'm going to look at this from a scalp perspective. So I'm just going to draw my zones here on the 10-minute, and then I'll show you guys my analysis for the shorter time frame if I was to, scalp this, obviously. So if I was to scalp this, looks like there was a bunch of entries last night, actually, or all throughout the day. So let me just check this real quick. There's a whole bunch here. And the market should start to stabilize a bit, like probably in the next 20 to 30 minutes. It's just how the market moves right now. It's like this every morning. So if you guys are new to trading indices, this is and don't get freaked out. These are normal movements for when the market opens. So just looking at this here, we had quite a bit of entries here that were available if you guys were scalping this. So if you guys are familiar with the scalp strategy, it's pretty simple. So we have, let's see, we have one right here. Basically what we're looking for here is we're looking for a rejection off the pivot and a rejection off the structure. So let me see if I can find right here. For example, this one right here, this red candle, right? So this red candle right here, this is the same, the same thing we took when we took our US 30 position. We waited for a rejection off the pivot, which would be this orange pivot, and off the structure right here. So once we have that, we take a long position right here. I forgot what the sweet spot it was for you guys who trade S&P. I don't trade S&P, so I'm not sure. I'll just use the US 31, which is about 500 pips. So for S&P right here, if you were to take that trade, this thing's not moving. I don't know what's going on with the trading view. It's not loading right now, but here, I'll just take this off. So yeah, if you took that trade right there, obviously we identify the rejection off the structure, rejection off the pivot, it would have hit full TP right there. It's a pretty simple strategy. It's what everyone here has been applying. And there's a bunch of entries right here as well. So again, right here, we have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure, and the same thing that we were looking at earlier, 500 pips as well. So if you were to see that there, obviously full TP right there. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at here. But analyzing S&P right here, we don't have the rejection off the structure yet. We're waiting for it to set up. Obviously these right here, these have rejected off the structure, but it hasn't rejected off the pivot. So what we'd be looking for is, either like the same setup. If we see this setup where it rejects off the pivot and the structure, like this right here, then we would take a long position. But until then, we're just going to be sitting tight off S&P. So we'll see. I mean, the higher time frame, we don't really know what's going to happen here until it happens. We'll have to wait for some sort of movement to determine whether it's going to push up or whether it's going to push down. And then same with the scalps over here. Obviously there's no zone right here, so we'd have to see this come down, test the structure, and then come back up, and then we could take some sort of buy scalp from there. But until that happens, there's not going to be any entries here. Obviously, the last entry is right here last night for that scalp. It was pretty much just consolidating the entire session during London, and then this morning, this big spike up over here. So that's pretty much it for S&P. Until there's more confirmation there's not going to be an entry. But we'll keep coming back to look at it. Let's check out US 30 real quick. Let's see, US 30 looks like it spiked all the way back up. So look at these crazy spikes over here for US 30, right? These crazy, crazy wicks. So this is what I meant about it being dangerous. If this ends up spiking up and it closes with another rejection, that's going to be a third scalp entry for whoever is stacking these positions. I personally don't want to scalp it. I mean, stack it, because this it's just too risky, right? It's just moving around way too much. I would want to wait for it to stabilize, like I mentioned before I decide to, stack more positions on there, because it's just, market's just moving crazy right now. Looks like we might have a sell entry for our daily trade, but we'll have to wait and see how this ends up. Closing out. We have about 7 minutes left on this candle. I'll come back and take a look at this later. But meanwhile, we'll keep looking at the questions as we go along. So let me see if there's anything else here. All right, cool. Morning, Andrea. Let me see. The next question is, Gene wants me to take a look at Bitcoin. So I'll take a look at Bitcoin real quick. So Bitcoin is in a new area. I don't think there's a new structure that was developed yet for Bitcoin. So I'll just delete everything off here, and then I'll show you guys my analysis on the higher time frame. So it's the same process I was doing earlier, guys. Zoom out from this point, turn on the K2SR so I get these rejection points, and I'll go ahead and draw these zones on the chart for you guys. So let me see. Okay, so we got this one right here. All right, so we got these lower zones right here. I'm gonna see if I can find some higher zones closer to current price. All right, so we're here on the 1 hour. It looks like there's a couple zones here that are pretty decent, actually. All right. So looking at Bitcoin right here, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator, turn this off. So it looks like Bitcoin just hit some resistance up there. So currently right now, it looks like, I mean, just looking at the same, the same analysis that I do for pretty much everything, it's pretty much the same thing, just repeating itself. Like I mentioned before, right? It's the same thing. We have the rejection off this point. We have the buy signal right here. We have the breaking close path structure right here. And then what happens after the breaking close path structure? It ends up pushing up to the next structure. So as soon as it broke structure here again, same pattern, break and retest of the structure, and then it shot all the way up. So that's basically what happened here with this. It ended up shooting all the way up here, breaking close path structure again right here, and then further push up even higher. So looking at Bitcoin here, I mean, obviously for Bitcoin, it has a bullish bias overall, right? I mean, this huge spike right here happened because of, or this one right here, this happened because Elon, he backed Bitcoin. So after he did that, everyone hopped on the Bitcoin train, right? So I think it's going to continue to push up higher. I think what's going to happen here is it's just a basic break and retest, broke structure, retest, and then I think it'll shoot right back up, right? So that's kind of what I see happening here. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Like, there's no confirmation here that that's going to happen yet. This would have to break and close past structure right here. When this happens, where price comes up and breaks and closes past here, then we can anticipate a shoot up higher. But until then, it's probably not going to shoot up just yet. This can easily just range within this zone right here, because it's just ranging right here at this point. It could range between here, or it can break below here, or it can break above here. So there's just too much uncertainty for Bitcoin. I don't know how you're trading Gene, if you're like actively trading it, or if you're just buying and holding it. If you want to buy and hold it, it's dipping right here. So you can possibly buy some more and just hold it as it continues to push up higher. I don't think it's going to drop that low, honestly. The move by Elon wasn't a pump and dump move. Like they made headlines, when they mentioned that they'll start taking payments via Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's not going anywhere. It's going to just keep pushing up. So if you wanted to buy Bitcoin, you can buy here because it's dipping at this structure. Basically, that's how I buy Bitcoin. Like I actually bought it like right before Elon mentioned it that he was going to back Bitcoin. Because like right here, this is what I look for when I'm trading Bitcoin, because I don't actively trade it. I just buy and hold. I wait for price to come up and I wait for it to retest, some sort of lower structure. So like, for example, here, whenever price came up and then it came back down, I just bought some more right here. As it came up, came back down, I bought some more. It came up, came back down, I bought some more. So I bought a bunch right here and then it shot up. I think I bought like $500 and it went from like 500 to like 900 after it shot up to here. And it's the same situation again right here. It just depends on how you're trading it, Gene Vaughn. I'm not sure if you're buying and holding or if you're actively trading it. Obviously, if you're actively trading it, you would look at this on a shorter time frame. But if you're looking at it from a long-term perspective, basically right here would be a decent buy. And then if it drops down below here again, I would buy some more because it's eventually going to swing back up. I don't see Bitcoin going anywhere. So that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. If this ends up closing below here, so here's another analysis. So I gave you guys the upside analysis because we had the buy signal right there, but we have a pending sell right now, right? So this rejection right here and this sell signal, if this ends up providing a sell signal and it breaks and closes past this structure, then odds are it's probably going to push down like quite a bit. It might push down here before it ends up swinging back up. So just keep that in mind, guys, if you guys are watching that. But other than that, I think that's about it for now. Let me check this real quick and see if I see anything over here. All right, let me just check this over here real quick. It looks like the indices are moving around pretty crazy. Wow, look at these crazy spikes right here for the indices. So I'd probably hold off on the indice market right now for a bit. Yeah, so the first one that I took hit stop loss, unfortunately. But like I mentioned, that was a risky trade. I wasn't supposed to take that trade because I usually don't take it on the market open. I usually just wait, but it's fine. I'm just waiting for it to smoothen out so I can take some other trades. So that was just one right there. Let's see if there's anything else over here real quick before we continue on. Yeah, I think it's gonna, I'm just gonna delete all these old alerts that I have here. I have way too much open. All right, just wanna clean this up a little bit before we go to full steam with our trading. But yeah, guys, I think for the indices market, you should probably hold off for a bit until it ends up swinging. So that's why I didn't recommend taking the other scalp, because there's just too many spikes in price right now for the indices. It's not just US 30 that's spiking around. You can see obviously right here, S&P spiking as well. Nasdaq, look at Nasdaq. These are like ugly pairs to trade right now. I wouldn't mess with any of these. Look at Nasdaq's wicks right here. Yeah, that's crazy. Look at these. There's like no body here for Nasdaq. It's literally just wicks on both ends, and it's pushing like how far? Let's see. And it's pushing like 500 pips for Nasdaq, and then it's all wicked out right here, and then all of a sudden a strong bullish candle, right? Look at this BS with US 30. It kicked me out of that position, and then it just ended up shooting up from there. It's all right. Shit like that happens, especially on market open. I should have known better to sit out the market until it was ready. I'm like tempted to hop into this right here for the second scalp that I was mentioning for you guys. This one right here. No, but it might end up swinging down. So for example, here, if we have this right here where this ends up closing, this could be a sell scalp instead. So I might just take the sell side, but we'll see. Like I mentioned, the market's just it's too choppy right now. So I'd probably hold off on it. So I don't know if you guys took this trade right here, but if this ends up closing right here, I'm gonna take the other side of it, and then I'm gonna see how it plays out. But like I mentioned earlier, it's just too risky, guys. I just hold off maybe another 30 minutes to an hour for just the candles to go back to normal. Because obviously you can see here, this is how a normal candle movement moves. It's kind of smooth and it just kind of moves sideways. Like for example, right here, yesterday morning, see how this choppiness happened right when the market opened? So it was crazy choppy from like 6:30 market open up until 8:30. And then at 8:30, it's smoothing out right here, right? This is how it's supposed to move. So right here, it's going to be choppy. And then I think probably by like 8 or whatever, it's going to start moving smoothly. So just keep that in mind. If you guys are taking this, but yeah, I'm probably going to take this short position here. I'm going to take this sell right here if it ends up closing, because we have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. Yeah, hopefully you guys can take this. I just gave you guys these parameters here, but you know, when I did call it, I did mention that it was too risky and I wasn't going to take it myself. And basically, so if you guys understand how I approach these positions, if I have one loss in one direction, so for example here, I took the buy. If I had that loss, I take no more buys. I wait for the sell, and then I take it in the opposite direction. So just keep that in mind, guys. Let me open my windows real quick. It's hot here. All right, we got about 7 minutes left on this candle. We'll see how this plays out. Otherwise, let me see the chat and see if there's anything else on this side. Oh, Razul mentioned, Shawn, I think CPI in US is out today. That's why maybe the markets are moving erratic. Yeah, definitely. You know, I didn't even bother checking the news. Oh, you're right. So yeah, US CPI was at 5:30 a.m. and there is the crude oil inventories are at 7:30. So there's actually a lot of US news today. That was my man. That's like so many mistakes made on my part today. So, you know, even I make mistakes, guys. I've been trading for 10 years, but I still make mistakes where I forget to check the news. So I probably should have avoided that trade here indefinitely. The other buy that I took over here. What I'm going to do is I might take the sell though, if it ends up closing. So I'll be watching for this, and then we'll be taking a look. Jinwoo said, any thoughts on HCMC? Yeah, I'm not even sure what HCMC. I think you might be referring to a stock, right? So I'll pull that up. Oh yeah, so I'll pull those up in a little bit. Let me add a list actually for you guys, so I don't miss any questions here. So let me see. Answer Gene Wan's question. For Kimmy, I'll look at gold. Kimmy wants me to take a look at gold. Let's see if there's anything else here. Artist wants me to take a look at Nasdaq 100 and UK 100. Creative Wolf. Take a look at TLRY. Roland said, I don't know if I'm bugging or what, but every time I enter the entry on the next candle on TradingView, my entry, it ends up lower on FTMO. Any idea? Roland, the FTMO price and for some reason FTMO and the TradingView price changed a little bit. So it's only off by like 10 pips, not a big difference, but yeah, it is off by 10 pips. Okay, let me see anything else here. So Jinwoo wants me to take a look at HCMC. I'll take a look at that as well. Yeah, exactly. So Skinny Boys mentioned crude inventories in 30 minutes. So I might hold off on this trade, but I mean, we'll see how this ends up. I'll see how this ends up playing out before we continue on. So yeah, Mary wants me to take a look at EU, USD. Jonathan, Shawn, how do you mentally keep to your strategy? I always fall down when I start winning. I mean, it's all trade psychology, Jonathan. You know, it all comes with practice and like time, because I mean, if you trust your strategy, you should be able to stick to it, right? You're just uncertain about your strategy. If you're uncertain, you're not gonna stick to it, right? For me, I've been trading these strategies for so long that it's just I mean, it's just become second nature to me. I don't really bother looking at stuff. Sorry. Yeah, I don't really bother looking at other stuff because I know what I use works, right? Because, you know, I trade live with you guys every day. And that kind of helps me too, because it gives me accountability. Like, you guys can call me out on my shit if I do something wrong. And if I do something wrong, I admit it because I know I've done something wrong. Like today, this morning trade, that was my bad because I shouldn't have taken this trade here when there was high impact US news this morning. And on top of that, it was on market open. So I took the trade here at like 6 o'clock or at 6:30, right before it. And, you know, I should have known that that market was coming up. And it was my mistake. You know, it was my mistake. I ate that loss. And then I just continue on with the other entries because we do have a high win rate. So, you know, even if I just take the if I eat that loss, you know, I know I'm gonna make it back on the next trade. So that's why I don't really get stuck on one trade because like we take multiple trades a day. If I have one loss, it's fine. I'll make it back on the next trade. And then the next trade after that, if I win, I end up in profit. So, you know, it becomes a game of probability. If you understand your probabilities and your win ratio for the strategy that you're applying, you shouldn't have too much problem, you know, focused on sticking to your plan. So that's my advice. Just stick to your trading plan. If you have one that works and it's consistent, then just stick to it and don't second guess it. Right. So here, guys, I might take this scalp right here if this ends up closing because it provides a sell scalp right here. Right. And like I mentioned earlier, guys, if I have a loss going for buy, I stop taking buys. I just wait for it to swing down. And then once I have a scalp for sells, I would take this sell right here. So hopefully you guys can take this trade right here. I just gave it to you guys who are looking at it. But I mentioned that I didn't take it myself and that it was a very risky trade because it was on market open, right? So I'm switching to this sell right here, actually. And then, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Let me see if this ends up closing in about a minute. If it closes, then I'll take it. I'm gonna check the other indices as well, just to see how they're all moving. Let's see. So they're all moving kind of similar. Nasdaq is spike. The Nasdaq's probably the worst one. I don't recommend trading Nasdaq. Look at these spikes right here. It's like it's straight wicks, no body. So I'd stay away from the Nasdaq right now. I'll analyze that in a little bit, but I would stay away from it if you're thinking about trading it. Looks like S&P is coming down, UK 100 is coming down, Aussie 200 is coming down, the China 550 is coming down, the Spain index is bouncing around. It came down, then it swung back up. The French index is doing the same thing. And then the DAX is, it looks like all of the indices are kind of just going back and forth. So it's a bit of a risky time to trade right now if you're thinking about trading the indices. But I'm going to be looking at US 30 here for a possible scalp entry if this ends up closing. It's closing in about 40 seconds right here. But it is a risky trade because it's really close to the pivot. So, I mean, we'll see. If this ends up closing here, then maybe I'll take it. Maybe if it doesn't, yeah, it looks like it's swinging all the way back up. So if this closes like a strong bullish candle, then I'm just going to hold off on it. Obviously, price is just whipsawing back and forth if that's what happens here. I was waiting for it to close below here so that I can take that sell. But yeah, it looks too risky of a trade. I don't think it's something that I would want to take personally. Yeah, I'm not going to take this trade, guys. So I'm holding off on my scalps for a bit. I'm just going to wait and see how this market plays out because obviously it's just bouncing back and forth. You know, it's not just US 30. If you look at the other indices as well, like the Aussie 200 right here, it's just bouncing back and forth. So the last thing you want to do is enter this trade and it ends up going opposite on you after you just got out. So the Spain index right here is going up now. The French index is going up. The DAX is now currently going up. The NICE is going up as well. The Nasdaq is going down. The S&P is going back and forth. UK 100 is going back and forth. And US 30 as well is going back and forth. So I wouldn't mess with the indices right now, guys. I'd hold off on it. And then I would wait for some stability in the market before you take any scalps or like trades in general for US 30. So I'll come back to this. I'll answer questions meanwhile, because obviously the market's all over the place. I don't want to mess with it, you know, at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the list. So the first question is gold from Kimmy. So let me pull up gold real quick. Let's see. All right. So looking at gold right here. just gonna go and analyze it from scratch. So I'm gonna go ahead and take everything off the chart, and you guys will see how I analyze gold. You guys can see my analysis is exactly the same for Forex. It's the same for cryptos. It's the same for indices. It's the same for commodities like gold and silver, and it's the same for stocks. So first thing I do is I have a clean chart. I turn on the K2SR indicator to determine where the zones are. So once I have that, I draw my zones on the chart. Let's see. Yeah, see, these are some pretty easy zones. It's not too much going on for gold right now. So here are the zones for gold. I'm gonna turn this off right here and then zoom out from this point. So you can see I just drew these zones today on February 10th. You can see these same exact zones have been tested way back since July 2020. So you guys can see how strong these zones are right here. And then before that, price was way below. So price was way below. In July, it broke structure right here, and then it stayed above it until it swung back down. And then it just started ranging between these zones over here. So price is currently within these zones. I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator and just analyze it from this perspective. So right here, I think we have a pending buy. It looks like there was probably a pending buy at this point. So the way that I would analyze this is I see this nice rejection off this structure right here, right? It's a nice rejection off that structure. The only problem here is that we don't have a buy signal yet, but my guess is that there was a pending buy right here and then it disappeared. So what I would anticipate now is I'd wait for a buy signal to appear somewhere above here. And then if it pushes up higher, breaks above this structure and closes above here, then I would take a buy. So this is one scenario that's going to play out here. And I can show you where it played out previously. So this same pattern actually played out over here as well. So if I zoom out from here, you can see that this right here, this rejection down here happened, and it started right here as well. So it's the same pattern that we're just looking at. It's repeating itself. This happened in November. So rejection off this point, buy signal. You guys can see right here, rejection off this point, buy signal. And then you can see that as it pushes up higher, every time it breaks structure, it just continues to push up higher and higher, right? So like, for example, right here, this gold pushed up to this point. After it broke structure above here, it just kept pushing higher and higher before it came down for a retest. And then it did the same thing, right? Rejection right here, buy signal, breaking structure, and then it pushed up. And then as it broke structure again right here, it just repeated the same pattern, you know? It came up, broke it, shot up, retest before shooting right back up. So that's basically what I see happening right here. It's the same exact pattern. You can see the rejection, buy signal, and it pushes up. So same thing over here as well. Rejection, buy signal, breaking structure, and then it just keeps pushing up. So that's why I'm waiting for it to possibly break above here. If it breaks above here, kind of similar to what happened right here, I mean, you have a nice push up from that point, right? Like from here, if you were into this position, you have your stop loss at the previous swing down here, but your earning potential is so high up here, right? So that'd be a perfect setup right here to play out. So this is scenario number one. Scenario number one is that this can happen, but you got to keep in mind that there's other scenarios that can play out as well. So that's not the only thing that can happen. What can happen here as well is price can do the opposite. It can reject off this point, and then it can come back down from here. But odds are telling, like, I think my bias is that it's going to go up. That's what I think is going to happen here. Let's check real quick. I'm going to check the dollar index to see how strong the dollar is. I know the dollar was weak earlier this week. So that's why, yeah, so look at the dollar index. It's like going to shit right here, right? If you look at the dollar index here, it's just going straight down. So with this set right here, if the dollar index is super weak, what do you think is going to happen with gold? If the dollar index is weak, price goes up, right? So that's what I see happening here. That's why I think price is going to swing back up. It's going to close above the structure. And then as soon as it does that, it's going to, you know, skyrocket once it gets to this point. So that's like one thing to keep in mind. Because if the dollar is weak, the price of gold will go up. If the dollar is strong, price of gold will go down. So if this starts to, so here's an example here. If this swings up from this point, then this is going to come down. But just looking at the dollar index right here, it doesn't look like it's going to come down, right? It looks like it's going to keep pushing farther down from this point. So if this keeps pushing down like this, then gold's going to push up. Because if you guys understand how these pairs work, when price is going down, that means that the second currency is stronger than the first. If price is going up, that means that the first currency is stronger than the second. So, with that said right here, we just looked at the dollar index. It looks weak. So I think gold is going to keep pushing up higher. So that's my analysis for that. Other than that, let me see if I can analyze this on a scalp perspective, since you guys like to scalp this as well. Actually, let's check on the 30-minute first, and then yeah. So if we're looking at gold on the 30-minute right here, you guys can see that there was actually a structure right over here. So if you guys are scalping this using my scalp strategy, so basically right here, it's the same thing that we were using for US 30. We are identifying this rejection of structure right here. There's actually two entries right here. So for example, right here, there's an entry right here where the wick rejection happens off the pivot and the structure. And there's another one right here. So if you wanted to stack these two right here, there's actually two entries that are available. Hey, David, how's it going, bro? D-Rez, looks like you're off of work today, huh? We don't got Ron Mex going here today. So for example, here for gold, we have the wick rejection off the pivot, wick rejection off the pivot right here as well, and off the structure. So if you wanted to take this right here, you would have taken a long position somewhere around there. I think the sweet spot was like 500 pips, right, for gold. So if you were to take this trade here and you let it run, obviously would have hit full TP. So there's one scalp right there. There's another scalp right next to it as well. So that's one. Number two is going to be this one right here. So you could have had two scalp wins right there for gold if you were scalping that on the 30-minute. I know some people like to scalp it on the 30-minute, but I'll also look at it on the 10-minute as well, if that was one that you guys were looking at. So let me pull up gold right here. So yeah, looking at gold here on the 10-minute. Gold is messy. So actually, it looks like a lot of the pairs are really messy this morning, because you can see right here, gold is basically moving smooth right here, and all of a sudden it gets choppy, and then these huge spikes in price. So, I mean, if we're looking at it from this perspective over here, and we had a bullish bias, this technically would be an entry right here if you guys are looking to scalp it. So let me check this real quick. All right, so looking at gold on the 10-minute right here, this would be an entry if it ends up closing. Yeah, so like right here, you see this, there's a wick rejection off the pivot, and there's also wick rejection off this. Oh, sorry, there's a wick rejection off the structure and a wick rejection off the pivot right here. So if this ends up closing right here, this could be a scalp upwards right here for about, I don't know if I would do 500 pips on the 10-minute. I'd probably do just 300 just to be safe, because I think 500 is too big of a range. Yeah, so there's a scalp right there. I mean, for whoever would want to take this, but I personally wouldn't, because, like I mentioned earlier, I would prefer that US 30, or I mean, I would prefer that things stabilize first before I take any trades, because like this shit's going crazy, guys. Look at US 30. Oh, fuck me, guys. Okay, my bad. I missed the entry here. So this would be the entry. Fuck. Okay, we missed the trade, guys, for US 30. I might try to hop into this for a late entry, but I mean, we'll see how this I mean, technically we still can. The market's going pretty crazy right now. It's bouncing a lot. But yeah, I'm going to go and send this to the group real quick. Yeah, I'm going to send this to the group. So this is technically still the entry. I don't know if you guys want to enter it, but it's kind of late. Oh yeah, I think we missed this trade, guys. That shit was my bad. Damn, David, you gotta get Rona tested. Crazy, bro. All right, so fuck me. And unfortunately, we missed this trade right here. Unless you guys took it. I mean, I think some of you guys might have taken it. Let me see. Here's the K2 daily US 30 entry for the day, guys. The crazy price movement. Yeah, I'm just sending this over to the premium members real quick. Unfortunately, I missed it. Usually it doesn't move this fast. It moves pretty quick, but not this quick. So if you guys are familiar with the daily US 30 strategy, basically we wait for the market open here at 6:30 and we take the first valid signal. So technically this was a trade right here. And unfortunately I missed it. And whatever, I entered a sell anyways. So I'm actually in the trade right now, guys. I'm just writing it down for the most part. I just entered it. Jeez, this thing is spiking around like crazy. Okay, someone's gonna set my TP stop loss right now because I don't want to get caught in anything crazy. All right, so my TP stop loss, so 31,565. It's off by like 10 pips. TP is gonna be 31,265. Yeah, this thing's moving around like crazy right now. I'm just looking at my MT4. This thing is like, because MT4 shows like the smaller movements. So I got my TP stop loss set up for this. If you guys, man, I should have just taken that scalp earlier, the one that I was looking at. Wow, look at these spikes right here. So yeah, good thing you guys didn't take any of these trades. Like I mentioned, the market is just, it is moving crazy right now. I did enter a sell for this US 30 though, so let's see how this plays out. I'll just follow the full TP because it would have hit full TP1 already right there for 750 pips. So I'll just keep watching it. Oops, wrong one. Why is this? It's weird. I've never had issues with. Oh, there we go. I think I had a different setting on. All right, nice. I'm in profit about 500 bucks. That's not bad. I entered like up here as it was dropping right here. I just entered a sell to catch it. And I'm in profit about 500 bucks right now, so it's not too bad. I'm letting it run, and then I'm gonna see how this plays out. I mean, I have my TP set up. I'm looking at MT4 right now, and it's just spiking back and forth. If I go in the 1 minute here, oh, look at these spikes right here. This literally came down like super quick with like no time in between. This is perfect because I just want to lock in 500 bucks anyways to cover that scalp from earlier this morning, and then I'll be at I'll be slightly in profit for the day because I did take a couple other scalps, and they did hit. All right, I'm gonna see how this plays out right here. Other than that, let me see. Damn, this thing's crazy, guys. This is I haven't seen US 30 move like this in a long time. I'm like curious what's going on. I know there's the crude oil inventories, but I don't think it's enough to really spike price like that. You know, like NFP doesn't even do this. Usually when NFP is going around, it just goes in one direction. It doesn't linger for that long. But it is spiking around like pretty crazy right now. So, okay, back to my analysis anyways. I was looking at gold earlier. Yeah, and I wouldn't even scalp gold either because it looks like gold is getting screwed. US 30 is getting screwed. What else is getting? Let's check the other indices. Shit, look at this. Aussie 200. Looks like the entire indice market is it's even the China index. Dude, nobody even trades this asset. And look how much it spiked. If you look at the index throughout, this never happens. These crazy spikes right here. So obviously the indices market is getting fucking manhandled right now. Look at the Spain index right there. Look at the French index, the German DAX. Damn, all of these are getting pushed around like crazy. Stocks earlier, weakness in big tech. All right, I just got an update from CNBC. So this is what's causing price to spike around, but I don't understand why is it really jumping around that much, right? All right, so I'd probably hold off on the market, guys. If you guys are thinking about entering anything, I would just hold off because obviously the market's not. Look at this right here. I've never seen the NSA move like this. Look at this huge spike right here. I mean, aside from this, right, I don't know what happened here, but look at this huge spike right here for the NSA. So guys, be careful if you guys are, look at the Nasdaq. Holy shit, look at that, dude. This thing dropped like 2,000 pips since market open. Can you believe that for Nasdaq? So guys, market is on crack today. Look at S&P. S&P dropped like 3,000 pips. UK 100, yeah, guys, the entire indices market is pretty much, honestly, I don't know what to say about this. The US 30, it spiked like almost 2,500 pips, 2,500 pips since this morning. Huge wick right here. So guys, keep in mind, this is not normal market movement. This does not happen daily. Look at the other candles here. Do you ever see it spike like that? Never. Like there's full candles, but these huge spikes are look at this. Oh my god, look at this right here. This is crazy right here, this spike. So keep in mind, guys, market is not moving smooth today. So keep in mind, if you guys have trades open, careful. If you can exit in profit, I would probably just exit in profit. Well, I need this freaking US 30 to come back down because I entered that stupid sell over here. I mean, I'm still in profit, but I need it to push down so I can just pull out. Wow. This is crazy. I'm gonna let this thing drop a little further. All right, looks like my US 30 position is back in profit. I'm gonna let it drop, and I'm just gonna pull out as it drops further. Wow, look at US 30. So yeah, I'm letting it push down a little bit, and I'm just gonna pull out once I lock in some more profit. Watching my. All right, guys, I pulled out of that US 30 trade. That market is just too crazy right now. I don't want to risk it. So I pulled out with like 100, 200 bucks in profit. Yeah, I'm not messing with this right now, guys. This just is it's just not safe, right? Look at this. Oh, now I want to enter another sell. I should have like just held on to that sell and just held on to it a little longer. But I was worried it was going to spike back up. I'm worried that this is going to spike all the way back up to where it normally was. So this is where it normally is right here. It's probably going to have to correct back up. It's just weird because I mean, I honestly, like realistically, we haven't seen this all year. Like if you go back to like January, there's like full body moves. Like this is normal here. You can see like price move up pretty nicely, smooth and whatever. But this over here right now, where price currently is, these are not smooth moves at all. It's just a huge just drop. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just analyze what you guys want. I'm not gonna bother messing with this today, or maybe later I will, but not today. But just look at all the indices right here. I have all the indices on different charts. Look at the DAX. Damn, the DAX dumped like heavy. The Aussie dumped, the China index dumped, the Spain index dumped, French index dumped. I'm like curious because, oh, look, the DAX is still dropping. Is this the market crash, guys? I'm curious. Is this the market crash? I'm wondering if this is the beginning of this market crash because this is dumping like heavy. This is what we've been waiting for, right? We've been waiting for the market to crash. Wow, look at this. Like all the indices are crashing right now, guys. It's not just US 30. It's literally all of them. Look at this gain right here. So if you were taking like US 30, damn, look at this huge loss. So like all the way from February 9th, or no, yesterday up until this morning, it was up, and then all of that just erased pretty much. Damn. Yeah, guys, don't get wrecked. Like Tony mentioned right here. When the market's like this, I don't take the gamble, guys, because so this is what could happen. Say you take this trade here and then price spikes up, right? Say your stop loss is like right here. And if you're using an unregulated broker like Hugo's Way or something, you know, odds are there's going to be slippage. So what's going to happen is price will pass your stop loss and it'll keep going further and further. So I will not mess with this right now, especially if you're using a broker that isn't gonna honor your trade if it goes through slippage. Super Sam's asking, will we buy it back up? Probably not, Super Sam. I mean, we don't just buy just to buy. You know, we buy when there's an entry. If there's an entry, then yeah, we'll take a buy. But I don't think there's gonna be a buy entry anytime soon if it continues to drop. Well, if our full TP here hits, then that's nice. But I mean, unfortunately, I'm not in the trade. I got out of this already. This thing's moving. Okay. All right, so I'm done looking at these indices, guys. It's gonna keep dumping. I'm gonna look at these questions here. So I'm gonna go back up real quick. Let's see. We have already analyzed gold for Kimmy. I'll look at. So Artis, you want me to take a look at Nasdaq and UK 100, but there's really no point in me looking at it right now because, I mean, I can analyze it for you really quickly, but I don't think there's gonna be any point. These big spikes in price aren't. They're all being manipulated, right? So there's no real analysis that we can do off this if it looks like this, right? So let me go ahead and go back to the 1 hour, and I'll just analyze these zones for you. But you know, obviously, right here, there's no analysis that can be done here until it corrects back to like where it's supposed to go, or until it stabilizes, right? So I'll just draw these zones here for you on Nasdaq. Obviously, there's going to be brand new zones because of the huge spike in price, but we'll get to that shortly. All right. So it's actually entering a pretty big zoned area right now. So with that said, it might reject back up from this point. All right, so here's Nasdaq 100 right here. It's obviously it's dumped from, I mean, whatever happened in the news, but it's currently at a support right now. So at this point, it can either, so these are going to be the key elements here. Either it breaks below it here and closes. If this happens and it closes below here, then odds are it's going to keep pushing down further, right? That's what might happen here. That's number one. Number two is price can, you know, reject off this point and swing back up from here and then just recover back to where it was supposed to go. So, yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't mess with Nasdaq right now because, like, just look at this candle, guys. Like, this candle right here is, let's see how much did it move. This candle is about a 2,000 pip move. Like, that doesn't normally happen. Each candle is only like about 100 to 300 pips, right? These are normal movements here. Huge spike. And there's been spikes like that in the past, but not like at random. Like usually for this stuff, there's like news going on or something like FOMC, NFP, stuff like that. But just looking at current price right here, this is just a random spike down. I mean, CNBC mentioned that I guess there's something going on with big tech, but I don't know if that's enough to really like push price. Because other than that, we just had some small news this morning. We had the CPI, and then we had the crude oil inventories that just happened right now. But I don't think this was to affect the indices market as a whole, right? Because it's not just Nasdaq that's dropping. It's like literally all of them. We have US 30, you have the Aussie 200, you have the China index, Spain index, French index, German DAX, Japanese index, Nasdaq, S&P. They're all spiking down. So obviously something is affecting the market heavily, which is causing manipulation of the market. So right now for Nasdaq, I wouldn't mess with Nasdaq. If you really want to trade Nasdaq, I would wait for it to close below here to confirm that it's broken past support, right? It's broken and closed past support. Then I would take the sell here. Vice versa, if this ends up swinging up in the other direction. So this is scenario number one. Scenario number two is if this swings up the other direction right here, closes above the structure right there, then I would take the buy position, right? But I wouldn't mess with it until it either goes back to where it was earlier right here, where it was originally, and it corrects back up, or if it breaks below here and the drop just continues. If that happens, you can take the sell, or if it corrects back up, you can take the buy. But I wouldn't trade within this area, because what you're probably going to see is price is just going to spike up and down, up and down. And if your stop loss is too tight, you're probably going to get stopped out. So I would keep away from that right now. Other than that, let me see, what else did you want? Arthas, you also wanted UK 100. It's going to be the same analysis for UK 100, but I'll analyze it for you just to show you what I'm looking at here. So same thing here, crazy movements in the market. So here's the blank chart right here. I'm going to turn on the K2SRs, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones for you guys so you guys can see where we're at. Let's see. Those two. So it's the same situation with UK 100 here as well. It looks like it's currently at support right now. This is just one big zone right here. Yeah. So looking at UK 100 as well, Arthas, it's just ranging. So you can see it's been ranging since February 1st. So February 1st has just been bouncing back and forth between this zone right here, these two structures. But looking at current price right now, you know, obviously it's still within that range, right? So it's probably going to push down, test this structure. And it's the same analysis I had for Nasdaq. So if price was to keep pushing further and close below this structure right here, if this was to happen where it closes below here, then I would take the short position, right? That's perfectly fine. You can see here, it's the same thing that happened in the past over here. Price broke and closed past structure right here, and then it dropped, right? So that's scenario number one. Scenario number one is that if price ends up closing below the structure, then I would take this sell. Vice versa, if price ends up swinging back up from this point, then I'd wait for it to close above here. And once that happens and it closes above here, then I would take that long position. But currently right now, I wouldn't mess with this on the shorter time frames. There's just too much noise going on. Like right here on the US 30 is about to hit full TP for that main position. But looking at this over here, UK 100, see, I wouldn't mess with this on the shorter time frames because look at how much it's been moving. You can see the last time this happened. Let me see this real quick. So the last time this happened right here, so here's one right here where this happened. You can see that it's the same exact pattern, right, for what's happening right here. And this is why I wouldn't want to mess with this specifically, because it can easily swing right back up. So let me just fix this again right here. All right, so looking at this right here, you can see that the last time that this happened where it ended up swinging a little crazy like that, it ended up swinging back up right here, right? So it's the same thing again right here. If you were to take this right here, odds are it's probably going to swing back up from here as well. So price came down, swung up. Price came down, swung up before it either, comes back down or recovers, right? So just keep that in mind with this right here when trading this, because you really don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So I wouldn't trade this on the shorter time frame, but looking on the higher time frame right here, like I was mentioning, you'd want to wait for it to break and close below here to confirm that drop like it did right here, or wait for it to swing back up and close above here and take that buy. because you can see right here that the last time it broke that structure, it's the same pattern again, right? You have the pattern right here, the rejection. I turn on the momentum indicator. It's the same exact thing. Momentum, buy signal, came out for retest, buy signal right here, broken close past structure, and then it shot up, right? So if it breaks above that structure, that'd be good. If it breaks below this structure, it's the same pattern in the opposite direction, right? Rejection, sell signal, breaking close past structure, then it drops. So like, for example, here, we have the sell signal right here. So we have the rejection off this point. We have the sell signal right here. Now all we're waiting for is for price to break and close past this structure so that we can take that sell. So if you look right here, rejection, sell signal, breaking structure, drop. Rejection, sell signal, breaking structure, drop, right? So that's pretty much what we'd be looking for right there if we were to take this position. But other than that, it's not something that I would mess with right now currently. Wow, US 30 is about to hit full TP off the daily entry right here. If you guys took it, there you go, full TP off US 30. If you guys took that, you know, a lot of people here are applying the strategy on their own. So if you guys did apply it on your own, you guys caught it. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention, so I missed it. But well, I didn't miss it entirely. I took like a nice little scalp off it as it was coming down. I entered like right here, and then I exited right here because I got scared. So nice. Camel actually took that trade. So Camel right here took the sell for US 30. He made about 200 bucks off that. Nice. Fastest 200 ever. Nice work, Camel. So that's pretty good. Nice. Draymar got full TP as well. All right, cool. So some of you guys did take the full TP. So I'm just going to put it over here real quick. Or I'm not going to put the whole thing. The K² daily US 30 entry just hit full TP for plus 5,000 pips. Took it. It's a nice drop right there. Wow, and it's still dropping, guys. Look at that. Damn, is this the market crash? Like, I'm like curious now if this is the market crash, because this thing is dropping like I've never seen shit drop like this ever. Vishnu said, "Morning, Shawn K2. Morning, Vishnu." Hey, Deswell. Deswell said, I got 690. I jumped out. Wish I held it. Exactly. Me too, Deswell. I wish I held it as well because this thing dropped like straight to hell. Look at this. The last time I seen price drop like this was when COVID started. So this is a huge drop that's going on. Let me see. It's dropped over 3,000 pips already since market open. That's crazy. Look at this right here. Damn. Look at this right here, man. Now I feel stupid. I should have taken that scalp because we had that scalp right here, that green candle. That technically was a scalp. Wait, what was that? Looks like the entire market is kind of all over the place today, guys. Let me see what else happened in the market. So yeah, it's not just the indices that are spiking around. It looks like there's other pairs here that are spiking too. Yeah, all of the pairs are actually spiking, guys. Fuck me, man. Look at this euro odd. This thing was like in profit like a few seconds ago, and now it's shot up. So guys, I think we're gonna take it easy today because I mean, just look at the market in general. I don't know what's causing like these crazy spikes in price. I know the stock market isn't the only thing causing these spikes, right? Because they're mentioning here that you know, it's due to big tech. I don't think this is going to affect the Forex market too, though. This would affect the indices, but not the Forex market. Just looking at the market in general here, huge spike for these Aussie pairs. And it's weird because it's not all the pairs that are really getting spiked around. It's just certain pairs like odd USD, CAD CHF. Yeah, it's weird. It's not all the pairs that are getting spiked around. There's like certain pairs like Euro NZD This is a huge spike right here. It just spiked up, let's see, like 70 pips. GA, big spike right there. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm like curious what's going on in the market that's causing these crazy spikes. Because it makes sense when it's just like one pair that's moving or getting spiked around, or just the indices. But if the Forex market is getting spiked around too, there's obviously there's something going on. Obviously the NZD market is super weak. Let me check the dollar index isn't even dumping like we thought. Let me check the NZD. So the NZD spiked down. So the NZD got really weak all of a sudden. Look at this huge spike for NZD CHF. These spikes don't normally happen for this pair. It's a slow moving pair. It's only about 22 pips, but that's pretty big for something like that. Geez, look at the NZD USD right here. This thing spiked down. It should have hit our TP right here, but I guess it missed it by like a pip or so. And it looks like it hit stop loss for NZD USD. So small loss on there, not too bad. But yeah, I wonder what's going on in the market. I'm trying to figure out what's going on causing these. Yeah, Skinny Boy said, what is happening? I'm scared to enter any chart. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to figure out what's causing the spikes in price. But yeah, look at US 30. Not just US 30, but everything is kind of spiking around, guys. So I think you guys should probably take it easy right now if you guys are thinking about entering anything currently, because look at these spikes right here. So if it looks like they're just, it's like huge manipulation, because here's the thing. If people tried to enter a short right here at the low, they just spike price up. Look at these huge wicks. Yeah, damn. Yeah, guys, the last time I saw this, like something like this happen, was during COVID, like in March. So if I go back to March, or I can't go back here, but if you, let me see, I'll go back to March on this chart. So the last time I saw spikes like this happening was back in March when COVID hit. So if I go back, let me zoom out from here. It's the daily. So you guys can see right here. I guess it's kind of being over exaggerated a little bit because it's not dropping that much. But the last time I saw drops like that happen was back in March, where it was like a daily thing. If we go back to the 4 hour, but it's still a pretty big spike down, like there, compared to what happened over here in March. The thing about March is that when this drop was happening, it just kept dropping, right? You could just take a sell and it'd be like, it's impossible for you not to make money off US 30 if you just took sells. So if this is like the beginning of a market crash, that's gonna be interesting. John said, I think it shouldn't matter why it drops. We just react to whatever happens. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we could react to whatever happens, John, but if it keeps spiking back and forth, you're not going to be able to react to anything because you'll get stopped out before you end up taking any position. So when it drops like that, it's better to actually just stay out. You shouldn't react to the position just yet. You should wait for it to stabilize and figure out, how it moves before you end up hopping into something again. Because when something like this happens, there's like one of two things that can happen, right? It can either continue dropping, or it can recover back to where it was earlier and then go back in that direction. So you have to wait and see how everything like plays out before you actually take the trade. And and another thing too, John, it does matter what happens, like what happened to cause a drop, because if something's happening in the world like COVID, if COVID happened and then price ends up, like everything ends up dropping, you can just take sells and you can just write that sell down. So it actually is important to figure out, what's causing the drop, because these aren't random movements, right? Something's obviously happening pushing price down. It's not like, oh, this drop happened for a second, it's going to come right back up. It's not that simple. Usually if there's something that's pushing price, then it'll change our bias, and then we'll just take sells instead of buys if like there's something that's pushing it in a certain direction. But I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, personally, I'm just gonna sit out the market. I'm not gonna enter anything because there's too much uncertainty. Like you don't want to enter a buy, ends up shooting up. You don't want to enter. I mean, you don't want to enter a buy and it ends up shooting down, and then you don't want to enter a sell and it ends up shooting up. So I would hold off for a little bit before you take these trades. All right, so let me see if there's anything else here real quick before we continue. Medvest said, prepare for a buy. It'll rocket back up. I mean, it could Medvest, like who knows? You know, it might swing back up, but I'm gonna wait for it to stabilize before I decide to take it because, and I want to figure out what's going on because obviously if something is happening that's causing price to drop, then you know we're just gonna take sells and then just keep taking every time it dips up or swings up. So U.S. December wholesale inventory is revised higher. I don't think this really affected the market like that though. CNBC. Oh, I forgot about this too. They're probing. They're going over Trump's trial or something, right? I remember seeing that in the news yesterday. Georgia DA opens criminal probe of Trump, call urging Secretary of State to find votes. Interesting. So this could affect the market too. I mean, there's a lot of different things affecting the market. It just really depends on, you know, how, if it's going to continue that direction or if it's going to swing back up to where it was originally. So Heeb's asking if I can take a look at GA. So I'm gonna add you to the list, Heeb. So Heeb's asking GBP AUD. Thomas said, hi, what's the time frame you're on, please? The time frame is going to be on the screen, Thomas. So depending on which one which one I'm looking at, it says right there, 1 hour. I'll bounce around. I'll bounce around between the 4 hour, 1 hour, and 10 minute, depending on what I'm analyzing. If I'm analyzing it on an intraday perspective, long term, then I'll go on the 4 hour. If I'm analyzing an indice, I'll go on the 1 hour. If I'm scalping, I'll go on the 10 minute. Let's see. Skinny Boy said, dude, you always save me from blowing my account. Yeah, no, definitely. Rizal said, Shawn, could this be just the overdue correction? I just think that there is a big disconnect with all economies shut and shares and markets just skyrocketing. It just does not add up. Rizal, so possibly, yeah, no. But I mean, who knows? Look at this big spike back up. So US 30, it spiked down right here about like way down here, and then it spiked up another 1,500 pips. So I don't think this is necessarily a correction. I think this is like clear market manipulation because, I mean, you don't really see wicks that long, right? If you look at the wicks here, I mean, there's like a couple here. This is like a little under 1,500 pips. This is a big one. I don't know what happened. There's like some days where stuff happens in the news, like on the 15th right here. I think this was around the inauguration day. So stuff like this does happen, but it usually happens if there's like a planned news event, right? Like if there's NFP today, then yeah, it's anticipated that price is going to get manipulated. Or if there's like an election going on, I guess there's a lot of things going on today. There's like, they're putting Trump on trial for all the stuff that he did. And then there's also stuff right here with regard to like issues with big tech. So, I mean, there's a million things in the world that can affect the market, guys. Oh, so like Trump's impeachment trial is actually live right now. So I'm not sure if this is what's causing price to spike around like that. So this is currently live, Trump's impeachment trial. So I don't know, maybe that's what's affecting the market. There's also COVID updates right now. So these are both live. Trump's impeachment trial is going on. And then there's also, this might have been what affected the market actually. I don't know why would it affect the market like that though, but I mean, obviously there's stuff here going on. Impeachment managers show a new capital. House managers applaud day one arguments. Trump team, not so much. So there's actually a lot of stuff going on today, guys. There's updates for Trump's impeachment trial that's going on right now. There's also COVID updates right here as well. Germany may extend lockdown into March. Okay, so this might have affected the market as well, because if Germany closes, if they extend their lockdown, then that's going to directly affect DAX, right? So if you guys are familiar with the DAX, this is the German index. So if they provided this update, how long ago? Yeah, if they provided this update recently, then that's probably what caused, the DAX to drop. But, obviously all of the indexes dropped as well. So there's other factors here that are factoring in. So there's actually a lot of stuff going on in the world today. So I'm not sure if that's what necessarily affected the indices market. But if Germany does go into an extended lockdown, it's definitely going to affect the DAX right here. And that's why we have this big drop right here about an hour ago. So who knows, guys? I mean, there's a ton of things that can factor in, but the only thing that I know is that this could probably affect the market one way or another. Medvest said, is 15-minute good for scalping? You can use any time frame, Medvest. There's some people that use the 10-minute. There's some people that use the 15, and some that use the 30. So it's really up to you, depending on what you want to use. But it works on pretty much all of them for the most part. I can possibly show you guys. I mean, I'll show you guys, what the difference is on those as well when I start to analyze stuff. Let's see. Terrell said, indices, metal, crypto, stocks, people cashing out on all their gains. I mean, possibly that could be it too, Trell. I wouldn't be surprised. Camo said it's always Trump, right? Even when Trump's not president anymore, he's still pushing price around. Biko said, the offshore broker I use doesn't integrate TradingView into charts. So in order to use your strategy, does that mean I have to use TradingView for analysis, MT4 for actual trades? Yeah, exactly. That's what everyone else does too, Biko. That is correct. Thomas is asking what channel is Trump, please. I don't know what channel he's on, but you can go on YouTube. Just go on YouTube, type in CNBC TV, and then it has the live video right here. If you want to go watch it. Actually, he's not even live yet. Looks like they're going live in about 60 minutes or so. Or is this even updated? Let me see. Yeah, so he's actually going live in about 60 minutes. He's not live yet, but you can go watch it on CNBC TV. All right. Other than that, let me get back to this chat, guys. I'm getting kind of off track right now. I mean, the main reason we're going off track is because we're not trying to trade right now. Obviously, the market's all over the place, and we're not trying to get caught in any of these whipsaws. Look at this right here. If you guys caught this, hopefully none of you guys enter this sell for like the DAX, because if you guys enter this sell, look at this huge wick right here. Wow, 128 pips. That's crazy. Same with this right here, US 30. Hopefully you guys didn't chase that move like I was talking about, guys, right? That's why I mentioned when this is happening, don't enter the trade, because if you entered a sell right here, you probably would have gotten stopped out because it spiked all the way back up about 2,000 pips. So you guys have to, for me, I don't take these like risky trades, because the thing is, if you see this dropping, like for example here, if we were on the 10-minute, and check this out, if you got screwed here, because I know this is what some people are doing, right? You see price moving down and you're like, oh, it's dropping so much. And what happens? People enter a short position right here. And then what happens from there? It spikes up or it spikes down right here. So if you entered here, you'd be good. But if you enter down here and they're like, oh, it's going to keep dropping, it ends up spiking up from that point and you get stopped out. So that's why for me personally, I wouldn't want to mess with the manipulated pairs, obviously, because look how much it's moving. It's not safe for you guys to enter these trades when it's spiking around so much like that. But all right, so let me get back to the questions over. Creative Wolf was asking about Tillery. So let me pull up Tillery real quick. So let me just go to a clean chart right here. Let me fix this. I'm gonna go to this one right here. Okay, there we go. Just want to use a chart that I don't really draw on. So right here, I'm going to take everything off. Let me just refresh this. Testing. I'm going to take everything off the chart. And I think you were looking at TLRY, right? Tilray. So looking at Tilray right here. Wow, I don't know if this was affected from those market spikes as well. But just looking at Tilray over here, let me see if I go on the higher time frame. I mean, depending on how you wanted to trade it, if you're trading this like intraday or scalp or day trading, looks like there was a couple scalps right here that were, or possibly not. Let's pull this up real quick. Yeah, so looking at Tilray right here, I mean, I personally don't trade stocks anymore, so I wouldn't really know what, how to analyze this from a fundamental perspective. But just looking at it from a technical perspective, looks like price is actually rejecting off these structures. So looks like, yeah, it looks like price was, so it broke this structure right here. It was just testing it. And then after this point, it just skyrocketed. So I'm not sure what this necessarily, what necessarily caused a spike up. Obviously, when market reopened over here, it was way up here. So it shot up like 23 bucks. Not sure what happened overnight. Let me see TLRY. Let me just Google it. TLRY. All right, so I'm looking at Tilray over here. Yeah, I don't know if there's any news that really caused it to spike up like that. What is Tilray? Is this a cannabis stock? I mean, it seems like it. All the news here for cannabis. So yeah, honestly, I don't even know what Tilray is. But it looks like that big spike, like something happened last night to cause a spike up, and then it just people sold off. So what it looks like what happened here is they spiked price up, people made their money, then they sold off the stock right here, and then now people are trying to buy the dip right here, which I mean is a good idea. I mean, if you wanted to buy this long term, you could obviously buy the dip right here, and it's probably going to swing back up because you see the rejection off that pivot right there. So for example, right here, you see that rejection off the pivot. Generally, when that happens, like right here at test structure, and then we had a rejection off the pivot right here, it ended up spiking up like super heavily, right? So I think this is going to keep pushing up. I personally don't trade stocks anymore, so I don't really analyze this from anything other than a technical perspective. But you can see right here, whenever price breaks structure, it usually consolidates a little bit, breaks above, consolidates a bit, breaks above, consolidates a bit, and then now it's come down, it's swung down, it looks like it's going to swing back up. So this is like a basic analysis of Tilray. It's kind of hard to really analyze it from a real technical perspective because the data right here is so skewed. There's like a huge spike right here. People sold off. Then it looks like it's rejecting off this point as people buy the dip. And then it looks like it's going to swing back up from this point. So that's pretty much what I see for Tilray. Other than that, analyzing something like this is just it's just different because it's all news based. You have to follow the news for the specific company, figure out what caused the spike up, and then see if it's going to hold. If this was something that was temporary, then it's probably going to come back down and then correct back to where it was down here. If not, it's probably going to keep pushing up higher as people buy the dip. So that's it for Tilray. Let me look at the next one, which is HCMC. So OTC stock. This is for Jinwoo. So Jinwoo, let me check out the one that you were talking about right here. Wow, look at this. See, this is why I stopped trading stocks, guys. There's like crazy spikes in price right here that just, randomly happen. And I don't like looking for stocks. Like, I feel like looking for stocks took up so much of my time. And I prefer to just stick to something that, I know how to trade, like US 30 or even indices or Forex or anything in general that has like a lot of historical data. But looking at this right here, I'm just going to draw my zones for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about right here, Jinwoo. Basically, all right, so I think that's about it for these zones. All right, so that looks good for the most part. Yeah, looking at HCMC, it looks like it, it's the same situation here. This is such a weird looking stock. I don't know where you found this from, Jinwoo, but I've never seen where it moves like this. Look at this. It just bounces back and forth. It's a crazy OTC stock. Let's see. It's only worth it's worth less than a cent. So this is like penny stocks of penny stocks. So just looking at this here, price comes up, ranges or consolidates, shoots up, consolidates, shoots up, consolidates. And then now price is currently, I mean, this is way too high. I don't know if there's something that's causing this to shoot up like this or shoot down like this, Jinwoo, but I personally, like, I would never mess with something that's this cheap. Like this penny stock could, this could literally just disappear, you know, if, cause it's less than a penny. So this is like penny stocks of all penny stocks. It's not necessarily like an even stable one. If I was to trade penny stocks, I'd pick one that's at least like a few cents that's stable. But this isn't even worth a penny. It's worth a 0.004. So that's like super duper low. But just looking at this here, I mean, it's rejecting off the structure right here. Right there. And then, I mean, it's the same thing here. Like it's the same pattern that we look for. We look for the rejection off the structure and the pivot. And then when that happens, it usually shoots up. Like for example, here, rejection off the pivot and structure, shoots up, comes back down, rejection off the pivot and structure, shoots up. And same situation right here. So for HCMC, I probably see this spiking up from this point. Well, not spiking up, but pushing up off this structure. So yeah, I mean, if you decide to take this, I would take it for a long, but I don't know. It's just a risky. It's super risky. I wouldn't even mess with this. And the only reason I wouldn't mess with this is because I used to trade penny stocks a long time ago, and then it was all fun and games until I blew my account, and I was like, I'm never trading penny stocks again. So I mean, if you're trading penny stocks, good luck, but it's not something that I necessarily would really be looking at. So CT wants me to take a look at. CT mentioned. Here's CHF buy, USD sell. All right, so I'll take a look at that too, CT. So let me just go ahead and analyze those next. I mean, these are some weird pairs. So this is not something that I normally trade, so it's kind of hard for us to analyze, especially something, a penny stock of this stature, that it's so cheap and it's so risky that, I mean, this can literally just go off. I mean, it is OTC, so this could literally just be delisted at any point. So it's not something that I would necessarily want to mess with. All right, so anyways, let me go back to the chat, see if I missed anything real quick before we continue. Peter said, count yourself lucky. Shawn and K2 are top notch. No one else on YouTube does what Shawn does, and K2 is fire. Definitely. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate that. Hey, Shawn, how's it going, bro? Biku said, thanks, no problem. Super Sam said, something is up with the markets. The IG sentiment isn't even changing. Yeah, Super Sam, the market's just bouncing around like pretty crazy this morning. That's why I'm not messing with it. I'm just, thankfully this hit full TP. So if you guys took that entry there, it hit full TP already. But other than that, I'm not really going to mess with it until I feel like comfortable with the market moving normal. But currently right now, it's just spiking around way too much. It's just too, it's too erratic for me to want to hop in and risk, you know, possibly taking a loss just because I want to make a quick buck, you know. All right, so that's it for that right there. Let me go ahead and take a look at the questions and see if there's anything else that I'm missing here. Hey, Hamizan. Oh, good night. So Hamizan, I forgot you're in the opposite time zone over there. Nishkal Dungana, sorry, bro. I'm sure I butchered your name, but he's asking, anyone here on Epic Trading? Nah, bro, we don't do any of that network marketing here. I mean, we actually trade via charts. So I don't think there's anyone here that's on that company, but I know what you're talking about. It's a network marketing company. We're here strictly trading. We're not here to recruit or do any of that stuff. You know, we're here to just trade, make money off trading. So let me see if there's anything else here real quick before we continue on. So guys, CT, I do see your messages here, but if you guys want to put messages, I'm probably not going to have this Q&A open on the Zoom. I'm probably just going to look at the YouTube. So if you guys want to ask questions, just put them in the YouTube so I don't have to go back and forth. But I do see your question here, CT, so I'll be looking at it. If you guys put stuff in the Zoom chat, I probably didn't see it, but I do have you on the list, CT, and I'll take a look at that shortly. So give me 1 second. Let me pull up the next one. Next one on the list is Mary. She wants me to take a look at Euro USD. So let's go to Euro USD right here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and delete everything off the chart, zoom out from this point. First part of the analysis is the K2SR zone. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw my zones real quick. All right, we got that right there. That right there. And guys, if you guys emailed me or sent me messages on Telegram last night, I haven't gone to my messages yet. So it's not that I'm ignoring your message. I just haven't gone to it yet. So I'll get to you as soon as I'm done with this session. But I do have like 200 emails to get to. So it's probably gonna take me a while to get to your message if you were, if you had just emailed me. So here's Euro USD right here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the momentum indicator. All right, so it's the same analysis that I had earlier this week. Basically identify the rejection down here, identify the momentum right here. And then I mentioned that if price was to break structure right here, it's going to push up and probably test this structure right here, which it did, right? So at this point, price is currently attempting to break and close past this structure. If this happens, this can either go up to here or it can reject off this point right here, right? So there's two different scenarios that can play out here. I would have a bullish bias because the most recent signal was a bullish candle. So this is going to indicate that momentum is going to continue pushing up further, right? But in order for me to want to take this trade, I want price to close above this structure above here, right? Because when this happens right here, I can take a long position and I can ride this to this next structure right here for a nice little profit. Vice versa, if this ends up rejecting off this point, say if we get a rejection off this point and then we get a sell signal somewhere down here. If we get a sell signal indicating momentum swinging downwards, if price was to close below here, then I would take a short position right there, right? So I could take it in either way, but I would wait for that confirmation. I wouldn't trade when it's within these zones because when it's within these zones, price can easily reject off and reverse until it determines its direction, right? So for example, here, I'll show you what happened the last time we had the rejection down here. And you'll see that these patterns just repeat itself. Rejection, buy signal, it broke structure right here. And then it ended up pushing up higher, right, to this structure right there. So same thing that I identified right here, rejection, buy signal, breaking structure. If it closes above here, it's probably going to push up to there as well, just like what happened right here. Vice versa, if this ends up rejecting off this point, you can see that right here, we had the rejection from this point. We had the sell signal right here. And then we had the breaking structure down here. So a broken close past structure. And what did it do? It came down from this point, right? So there's there's like two main scenarios that can play out. The main scenario right here is the price comes up above here, closes. Then we enter that buy that way, right? Vice versa, if price ends up coming down from here instead, rejects from that point and closes below here, then we take the sell, right? So for Euro USD, we would want to wait for this to actually, close out before we actually take a move on this position. Because obviously you don't want to enter a buy position and then it ends up swinging down, and vice versa. You don't want to enter a sell position and then it ends up swinging up, right? So there's two different scenarios that can play out there. And the main key right here is just, to be patient. So let's see, CT sent me his chart over here. Let me see where we go. Okay, so CT sent me his chart for Euro USD. Oh, nice. Yeah, so you have that same analysis for a sell, CT, that I was just looking at. So this is CT's analysis here for Euro USD. And you guys are welcome to share your charts with me as well if you guys want me to analyze it from your type of analysis, because everyone analyzes things differently. So just looking at Euro USD right here, obviously CT drew the same structures that I have up here on my own right here. And that's what I was identifying right here. I was identifying this as either it shoots up or we have the rejection off this point from this structure. It ends up pushing down below here. And then this is where I would want to take it. I think CT has it where he wants it. He would be willing to take it from that point right there. Me personally, the main reason why I wouldn't want to do that is because obviously I want more confirmation, because let me check this structure right here. I mean, technically you could possibly take this right here. If it closes below here, you could technically take this trade and then ride it to this next structure down here, right? there's a bunch of resistance right here. So this is probably not going to push through here. It's probably just going to reject off it. It's kind of what I see happening from this side. So yeah, that was good that you sent me that chart, CT, because I could see this now, especially with all the resistance above here. I don't necessarily see it. I don't necessarily see it pushing up any higher. It's probably going to come down from this point. Once we get that sell signal, I can, you know, easily confirm that push downwards. But yeah, no, overall it looks pretty decent so far. See if there's anything else here. Yeah. So yeah, I would actually have a sell bias because I didn't realize there was all these upper zones right here. Oh, it's a large volume area. Yeah, no, exactly. I see that too, CT. So looking at your chart over here, yeah, you have the huge volume bar here. So there's a lot of volume right above it. So I could see this rejecting off this point. You know, but even if it pushes up a little higher right here, it can just reject off this point, reject off this point. There's a lot of areas here where it can reject off. So I would have the sell bias for this. I agree with that, CT. All right, so that looks good so far. That's it for Euro USD. Let's see what we have next up here. So next up on the list, we have GA for Sahib. So let me pull up GA real quick. So Biko is asking, does K2 work on TradingView from my phone? Yeah, definitely. Biko, you can use TradingView on your phone. A lot of other members in K2 do use it on their phone as well. So the next pair is GA. Let me pull up GA real quick. GA, let me see. See, so I'm just reading your messages right now. Sorry, guys. I just have some private messages over here. Yeah, no, definitely. If you guys have profits that you guys want me to send in the group, just send them to, and you can send them in any of the groups. You can send them to me directly, and then I can post them up on the daily profits. But yeah, no, anyways, I'm going to go back and analyze GA real quick. I just saw your messages, Sisu. So for GA over here, I'm going to go ahead and analyze this from scratch. I'm going to go and take everything off the chart. And then here we have a naked chart. First thing I'm going to do, as always, turn on the K2SR indicator. And then I'm going to go and identify these rejection points for you guys. So we got that right there. That's right there. There. All right. So we're good right there. I'm going to connect this one with that one above it, because it overlaps. And right there. So looking at GA right here, we're going to need some higher zones. Oh, what a mess. Look at this. So it's currently inside a zone actually on the 8-hour. And then we have another zone above here as well. Looks like we just got a signal for US 30. Maybe it's time for us to hop into US 30. I'll take a look right now. But let me go back to the 4-hour real quick. It's like US 30 is swinging its way back up right now. And who knows what's going to happen with US 30. Anyways, back to GA over here. I've drawn my zones for you guys right here. So you guys can see that the same zones that I just drew right now on the 10th have been testing all the way back in November, back in September. So it looks like this is a pretty hot, it's a sweet spot for where price currently likes to be. So like, for example, right here, you can see that price is currently right here, right in between the top and this third zone right here. So this is September, this is February 10th, right? If we go back to February 10th over here of, what was it, 2000, where was I looking? Yeah, 2018. So like price was around the same area right here, around early February. Looks like price ended up breaking structure right here, and then it shot obviously all the way up right here. So looking at current price right now for GA, I'm going to pull up, generally history always repeats itself, right? So I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator right here. We do have a buy signal. So I have the rejection off this point right here. We have the buy signal right here. I think next up, we would want price to close above here. And then once that happens, price break above here. And this is where I would actually take the trade. Or actually, I might even take it right here. Yeah, it'd be a nice profit for about 50 bucks. I mean, 50 pips, not 50 bucks. So yeah, for example, right here, this would be what I'm looking for here for GA. I would wait for price to break and close past the structure. Once that happens, I'd probably take a little buy right here, catch it at 50 pips, and then as it closes above here again, I would take another buy up there. So I have a long bias right here, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The reason for that is because like you can see here that every time this pattern shows up, it just repeats itself. Like for example, right here, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, rejection off this point. I'll zoom in. Rejection off this point, buy signal, break and close past structure right here, and then it pushes up, right? Simple, right? Same situation here. I mean, it's the same thing, just keeps repeating itself. Rejection here, buy signal, break and close past structure, and then obviously, it pushes up even further. So like same situation right here, rejection, buy signal, waiting for it to break and close past structure so I can take that buy right there. That's one confirmation right there. I went back to February of 2018 as well, where price was in the same exact price area right here. I don't know where it was at. Sorry. Oh, right here. So same time right here. I mean, it's the same pattern that's just repeating itself, right? We have the rejection right here. We have the buy signal where it breaks and closes past structure right here. So like I mentioned over here, when it breaks and closes past the structure, I take the long position and then I ride that up. Obviously, if you rode this up right here, it's 200 pips in profit. You could go even higher, like 1,000 pips in profit. And I'll go back. So this is February of 2019, actually 2 years ago. And here we are, February 2021. It's in the same exact place, right? So as soon as it breaks above here, odds are it's probably going to continue pushing up higher, and then vice versa as it pushes up above here, it's going to be even a bigger move. So that's pretty much my analysis for GA right now. Let's see what we have up next. Hey, what's up, Samurai? Haven't seen you in a while. Trading's been good. It's been kind of slow for the most part this week. I'm not sure if you saw what happened with all the indices this morning. We were following it. We had this entry right here for a sell. I think a lot of people here made profit off it. Using the same strategy that we've been using for US 30 every morning. Basically, the first signal after market open right here, this valid sell, you could have taken that sell signal right there, and then it went straight to TP. But I'm sure you've been following the markets, right, Samurai? Like the indices market's just crazy today. We were just looking at it all morning. Like for example, here the UK 100, huge spike down, and it was just all the indices in general. It wasn't just one. It was like the Aussie 200 spike down, China index spike down, Spain index, French index, German index, Japanese index. Like they're all the same, right? It's the same pattern that keeps playing out. I want to hop into some scalps for US 30, but the problem with this is that it's just I don't know what to call it. It's just super, it's just too risky for me to really want to hop into it because the market's just all over the place. So we got some profit here from CSUK. Let's see. So some people sent me their profit this morning. I think this was Braden's from yesterday. He took Aussie 200. Yeah, so he was applying the same strategy that we've been looking at here. He took that, made some profit. Here's CSUK scalps for this morning. He's made about 1,000 this morning. He's been scalping US 30 up and down pretty much both ways using the same strategies that we're applying here. So great work on that, CSUK. Those profits added up pretty nicely off this. Nice. Yeah, Trell said, I'm going to wait for Asia session later, Shawn. Yeah, Trell, so I'll see you later on. That's probably the best option right now because you don't want to get caught in any of these crazy movements. I'm probably going to hang her out for a little bit. I might take some trades if I see something good. But, you know, like I was mentioning, it's just too risky to really want to enter these trades right now. There's actually technically a scalp right here for this green one, which I'm tempted to take, but it's kind of late. It's already pushed in profit. Think about just taking a little scalp right here, maybe. All right, I took this little scalp right here. I'm gonna go for a small little move. If you guys want, I mean, it's kind of late if you guys want to enter it, but I just entered a market order for a sell, so I could catch this little move right here. 31456. CP's 31356. Not bad. I'm in profit about 200 bucks now. I just hopped into that. Looks like it's about to hit TP. Yeah, so if you guys want, if you guys want to take these trades on your own, you guys can. You guys just need access to the indicator. So this is the same strategy that everyone else is applying. I mean, like CSUK over here, he's scalping US 30 back and forth as well. Like he's locked in a couple $100 or, about $1,000, almost $2,000 this morning, scalping this. And you guys can learn the strategy as well. If you guys want access to it, just go on the website, k2trades.com, click on K2 strategy course. And then you guys will have access to all of the K2 indicators and the strategies course if you guys want to apply it on your own. You guys don't need me to take these trades. There's a bunch of people in K2 that are pretty much doing it on their own. Like Braden over here, he took this trade on his own. He locked in his own profits. Same with Tam over here. See Tam, she identified the same thing as well. Rejection off the pivot and the structure. She made about 300 bucks off that US 30. Spencer too made about 1,000 off that. CSUK again yesterday. Braden over here as well, locked in 1,600, scalping on his own. So if you guys want access to the indicators and you guys want to trade this on your own, you guys are more than welcome. Just go on the website and sign up for access. So that's it for US 30 right there. I mean, I'm taking this scalp right here. I'm going to see how it plays out. I'm going to let it run. Other than that, let's see how it goes. Let's see. Samurai said, looks a good scalp, might keep going down. I agree. So I'm currently in this right now. I'm in profit about 300 bucks. It's not bad. It's a small scalp, guys. I'm not looking for these big moves right now. I'm just trying to catch some scalps and then continue on with, with the market. Just as I see things, I'm going to enter them. And then that's pretty much that. Let's see. CT said 2 charts on GU, 10-minute entry for a larger time frame move on Telegram. So let me check real quick. CT sent me a nice. So CT sent me his, he's looking for a sell bias here for GU. That looks good. I could see that happening right there. And it's actually fulfilling the requirements right there, right, CT? Rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. Nice sell right there. So that looks good, definitely. Here's your 1 hour. Okay, perfect. The same thing here as well. You have the rejection off the structure. Looks like it'll follow through. It's going to be laggier than the 10-minute, obviously. But the 10 minutes already crossing below, it's provided for a scalp entry right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up on my chart and then I'll analyze it as well. All right. So that's it for that. Let me pull up GU real quick. All right, come on, just push it down a little bit. Come on, keep pushing US 30 down a little bit. Hit my TP right now. Just want to lock in that quick 500 off this. Oh, it hit. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so I hit TP already. I guess my TP was a little too close. I forgot to change it. I had to move it by like 10 pips, but my yeah, my position just hit TP. If you guys are still in this, it's about to hit TP as well. Let me see real quick. Yeah, you guys can give it some time. I'm gonna pull up GU real quick for CT. I'm gonna analyze that real quick. He's looking at it for a sell. So let me pull up GU real quick. There we go. Full TP on that scalp, guys. So if you guys took that scalp that I just called right now, it just hit full TP right there. So that's like 500 bucks in the bag right there, and it's still dropping even further. So it looks like I'm gonna start scalping, guys. I'm gonna be looking for entries as they appear, and then I'm gonna take some more scalps. So I covered my small loss from earlier, the small scalp that we took when price started spiking around. And other than that, I mean, that's pretty good. So nice scalp off that, full TP. And the thing that I was looking for on this was this rejection. So we have this rejection right here off this green candle, rejection off the pivot, this yellow pivot right here, and then rejection off this structure. So that's why I took that scalp right there off this candle close for 500 pips right here. And then I locked in some profit. So really quick move, guys. This is how we scalp here, right? We hop in, make our 500 bucks, pull out, wait for the next one, another 500 bucks, pull out, next one. It's the same process every single time. You know, don't get married to your position. Like you don't need to hold it for a couple hours. You can hold it for a couple seconds and make 500 bucks. It's a game of patience, right? It's just waiting for those perfect entries, taking them, you know, cashing out once you make that money, and then hopping into the next one. Nice. Camo said, made 35 off that ghetto last minute scalp. Nice work, bro. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm waiting for another scalp. So if this comes back up, rejects off the pivot, then I'll come and take another scalp. You know, otherwise I'm just going to sit tight. So I'm going to set an alert on this real quick. There you go. It's going to, oh, that was my bad. Let me fix this. Yeah, US 30 crossing the pivot. So when it comes back up and touches the pivot, it's going to send me an alert. That's when I'll know when to take a trade again. So other than that, I'll take a look at GU for CT, and then we'll continue on with these analyses. So, all right, let me see if there's anything else here. Nice. CT said stacked entries for GU so far. Tony said your setup definitely works on the futures market. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it works on everything, Tony. Like, for example, here, I'll show you. Like I personally just use it on US 30, but everyone uses it on everything. Like, I don't know where's Flynn at. Flynn, are you in here? Flynn uses it like on, what does he use it on? He uses it like on Euro NZD. That's like one of his favorite pairs that he uses it on. And it works perfectly fine on Forex as well. So I'll just show you an example right here real quick. So let me see if we could find an entry over here. Okay, so there's a couple entries over here actually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna draw the zones here, and I'll just show you, you know, where these entries would have been, because it's the same strategy that we use. Well, I use for US 30. I base that strategy off US 30, but it's funny because a lot of people here in K2, they just started using it on their own, like, you know, whatever they like to trade, and they've had like a ton of positive results. So it's, yeah, you know, back to what I was saying, it's based off the futures, but if you guys want to use them on anything else, I mean, you guys can. People have used it on Bitcoin, people have used it on XRP, people have used it on crypto. I mean, Forex, commodities, gold, all that stuff. It works perfectly fine. So like just using Euro NZD here, for example, I'll just replay over here. It's the same exact requirements that we're looking for here. It's, you know, we're just looking, okay, so US 30 just swung up. I'll come back and take a look at that in a second. But it's the same requirement here, Tony. Like, for example, see the rejection off the pivot and the structure? That this red pivot is rejecting off this red and green candle. So these are two entries right here. Generally, you take a long position right there. I think what Flynn usually goes for on the 10-minute is like a 20 pip move. So we have one there, and then this green one right here next to it is also a move as well. So you can actually take two entries right there for like another 20 pip move if you were to stack these positions, which is what some people do. And if you were to take this here for Euro NZD, obviously you can see that they both hit, or not yet. I think they eventually do. Yeah, so they end up both hitting TP right there, right? So it's not necessarily just for futures. It works for Forex. I mean, what else can I show you? It also works for gold, silver. I mean, pretty much all these pairs here. Everyone just applies it on their own, and they make pretty nice profit off it. I don't use it on these because, you know, obviously I know what I'm good at. I'm good at US 30, so that's what I stick with. But if you wanted to use it on something like gold as well, I mean, you can use it here as well. It works perfectly fine, depending on what you want to trade on. So if I'll just rewind it over here, let's see if there's anything that we could have, you know, possibly taken somewhere over here. Okay, so for example, right here, I'll just show you a quick example with gold. just before I move on forward. So like, for example, here, it's the same thing. You know, we're just looking for the same requirements: rejection off the K2 pivot, rejection off the structure right there. If you were to take this for gold, I think the sweet spot for gold is like what, 500 pips, I think, or that might be too wide. No, let me see. No, it looks fine. So I think the sweet spot for gold too, that what people trade on, is right here. And then obviously hits full TP. So it's not just for futures. I mean, it definitely works for futures because that's what I based it off, but people use it on everything else. So it just depends on what you necessarily want to trade it on. There's no, I mean, sky's the limit really, if it comes down to it, you know, whatever you want to trade on, it should be good to go. Let me see this real quick, US 30. All right, so we do have the rejection off this point. We have about 2 minutes left on this candle. I might take this for another scalp right here. 50 pip for 500 pips. All right. So I'm going to keep watching this for a second, guys, because I don't want to miss it. And then after we get that closed off, then I can move on to the next one. So let's see. All right. Let me see what questions we have here before I continue on. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys want me to analyze anything or show you guys any strategies, just put them in the chat and I can analyze them for you. Otherwise, I just have a couple other things to look at here. I have GU for CT. I'm gonna take a look at that real quick because he's looking at for some sells. So I'll be looking at that. I also have Euro CHF for a buy, Euro USD for a sell, and GBP USD for a sell. So I'm gonna look at all those pairs. If you guys have any other questions, just put them in the chat and I can take a look. Otherwise, I'm gonna wait for this to close real quick so I can take this sell scalp. And then, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And this is pretty much what we do every morning, guys. We just scalp, make a couple $1,000 if possible. I mean, best case scenario, you know, it's a couple $1,000 because each trade is worth 500. So say if I have 2 scalp trades that hit full TP, then that's $500 each. So if I win those 2, it's like $1,000 right there. If I win 4 trades, that's $2,000. And more times than not, they're usually wins. You know, we usually don't lose very often. So just keep that in mind. You know, and if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help so we can reach more people that want to learn and trade with us. So, you know, the more that this channel grows, the more often I'll come on. I'm already on like 3 to 5 times a day with my mentoring sessions. But if you guys want me to keep doing these live sessions where I trade live with you guys, you know, just like the stream and follow the YouTube, and I'll continue to come on these live sessions with you guys. Oh yeah, Saquon said, remember, be careful with double wick candles. Yeah, no, I agree. So I'd be okay with this right here. The only thing I'd be careful with would be this this red one right here, right? So this is where I'd be careful, because if it wicks with a pivot below and a pivot above, that's where it's risky. When it's just above it like this, it's kind of okay. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it is a little risky. So I do get what you're saying, Saquon. So I got my MT4 ready right here. I'm about to enter the sell position for a standard lot. We got about 10 seconds left on this candle. I'm waiting for it to close. We got about 8 seconds, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm in the trade, guys. All right, so I'm in the trade right here. Let me, I think it's off by like 10 pips, which is fine. Let me see what the pricing is, 69. Yeah, I'm just gonna add and subtract 10 pips to my TP stop loss. So there's the parameters. I'm in the sell right here, the sell scalp. All right, my stop loss is gonna be 3142 or no, 16. It's added 10 to it. My TP is gonna be 31316. All right, currently in profit $100, not too bad. We're close to $100. So there's the parameters right there. You know, I'll set some alerts for this. Scalp 1. All right, we should be good right there. All right. right, got my alert set up, so I'm gonna watch it. I think we're good to go. I'm gonna go and analyze GU real quick now. So we got G over here. I'm gonna delete everything off the chart. This is one that we took earlier, actually. We took this week. It hit full TP, so that's pretty good for the most part. Go ahead and analyze this real quick. So here's the naked chart. You guys know how I analyze things. Naked chart right here. First thing I do is I turn on the K²SR indicator, and then I go ahead and draw my zones for you guys. All right, so we have no upper zone here. I'm gonna go on the 8 hour, find some upper zones, nothing there. Daily, nothing there. Weekly, zone's way up here. Dang, so I wonder where you got that zone from, CT. Or I mean, you were looking at volume, right? But it looks like, I mean, I personally don't see any zones here for this. Let me just check this out real quick. I think you sent me some charts too. CT over here. Oh no, you're looking at US 30. Gotcha, okay. Yeah, so here's CT's chart for US 30. He's actually seeing the drop here. Oh no, this is GU. Wait. Oh, okay, it's on the other window. So this is CT's analysis here for US 30. He thinks it's going to drop as well. So I think it's going to drop. He thinks it's going to drop. It's probably going to drop. So that looks good. And he's on the 30-minute actually, so it's even better. He's on the higher time frame. So that looks pretty solid for the most part. I'm in that sell, so let's see real quick. Yeah, it's just going to bounce around, but I do have it set up over here. Going to end up checking this real quick. All right, let me just report this NF vaults guy. All right, it's all good. I just reported the NF vaults guy here trying to promote the channel. But yeah, just looking at yeah, our US 30 looks good right there. Currently in that position. Let me see my profits. Nice. I'm profiting about $200 right now, so it looks pretty good for the most part. Go back to GU over here. So yeah, looking at GU over here. So CT said GU zones. That's why I measured move chart. Okay, gotcha. Here, I'm gonna go on the shorter time frames. I'm just gonna see if I could grab a zone because I know there's got to be a zone that's closer. Damn, there's nothing here. I guess this would be the zone right here. I mean, 10 minutes it's too low. Let me go on the 15 at least. No. So 10 minutes is as good as we're going to get here, it looks like, which is fine. So there we go with that. I'm going to go back on the 4 hour. Turn this off. So yeah, I mean, currently there's a small zone above it where price currently is. But looking at GU here, I'm like curious. I mean, I feel like this could possibly go either way. I mean, the main reason for that is because we don't have a sell signal yet, right? CT, if we have a sell signal, then I'm like 100% on your analysis. But I think for right now, I mean, that's probably what could happen here, right? This could probably reject off this point right here. This could technically happen. Rejection, drop from here, sell signal. Once we get that, then yeah, I could see it dropping down to here. So, I mean, there's a lot of different perspectives that can play out. There's a ton of different perspectives that can play out over here. Like this can happen where like CT's analysis for a sell, this could technically happen. And then also, so that's scenario number one. Scenario number one, we have the rejection off this point, sell signal, then it drops. The other scenario is price breaks above here. And then it continue pushing, in that direction. So, I mean, it could go either way, but I could definitely see that analysis that CT saw. Let me check the pivots too, if the pivots are angling up or down. and they're angling up. So this is going to give me confirmation on the higher time frame. But let me go ahead and take a look on the shorter time frame, because I know CT also analyzed it like on the 30-minute. So let's pull up GU over here real quick. And I'm just going to analyze it from a scalp perspective, right? I'm not going to analyze it from anything else, just a small scalp. Let me just update this real quick. I hate when the alerts don't get updated because they're still on my chart right here, but technically this hit TP already. There we go. So here we are with GU. Turn on the momentum indicator. I mean the SRs. Yeah, so this is tricky actually. It's let's draw this real quick. I mean, there was no scalp entries here yet for GU. There was one right here. So this was a really nice scalp. I don't know if you caught this CT, but this looks like it was pretty solid. So if I go back and replay it to that candle right there, turn this off. Yeah, like for right here, this this red and this green candle. I don't know if you took this. This was last night or yesterday morning. So I don't know if you caught this scalp here, but if you did, nice rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. Take that up for, you could even take this one right here, previous one, take it up for like 30 pips, I assume. 30 pips seems pretty solid. Wow. Yeah, that would have been a great move right there. There's actually another one right here too. So for this one right here, there's actually a pivot entry right there. It rejects off the pivot and the structure. Again, right there for another long position. I guess 25 to 30 pip sweet spot. Right there. And it looks like this would have hit as well, right? Yeah. So another full TP right there. I mean, these are pretty solid. You know, maybe I should start. I'm thinking about applying this strategy on these on Forex now, because it's obviously it's been hitting. You know, it's been good. So these are pretty solid. See, CT said the smaller time frame is zone is the entry for the larger. Oh, okay, I see what you mean, CT. I put a 10-minute entry for a 1-hour chart move. 1 hour shows exhaustion of measured move. Oh yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, I could see that too, CT. That's kind of what I was looking at earlier too. You can see the rejection from this point, and then it's, you know, it's starting to come down. Like you mentioned, exhaustion, it's starting to come down from this point right there. Same with like on the higher time frame. Like I have the you know, rejection off this point. But you know me, like for me, I want that extra, I want the full confirmation. So I'd want it to drop a little bit, provide a sell signal or something to take that trade. But yeah, no, it does look good for the most part. Let me check GU scalps on the 10-minute as well. Let's see, GU right here. I'm gonna update this again. All right, so here we go. The CC said right click on TP stop loss copy tool and paste. It'll keep the same pips as the first tool. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, definitely. When we're looking at these scalps, right? So let me just pull this up real quick. I'm trying to see if there's any scalps over here that were possibly available. I'll just draw some zones right here. And this is a good review for a lot of you guys who are like still applying the strategy, don't get it 100%. I mean, it's very simple. We're just looking for the rejection off the pivot and rejection off the structure. But, you know, just watching me do it. I mean, a lot of you guys have mentioned that these live streams have definitely helped you guys understand a lot of things. Because in reality, it's really simple. You know, a lot of people want to overcomplicate trading, but in reality, if you keep it pretty simple, you can be pretty profitable, and it'd be a lot easier with like less stress. So for example, right here, there's a couple entries. Looks like there's 2 entries right here, actually. So there's one right here, or there's 3 actually. Let me see. Yeah, there's 3 entries right here. So if I go and draw my circle right here. This red candle, it rejects off the pivot in the structure. This green candle rejects off the pivot in the structure, and this red candle probably doesn't. It probably skips it. So we'll probably go with the middle one right here. If you're trading on the 10-minute, I think the sweet spot for this is probably 15 pips. I think 30 pips is just too wide. So if we were to take this trade right here, I mean, obviously full TP right there, right? Super simple. Again, right here, here's another rejection off the pivot in the structure. If I rewind it right here. Oops. Yeah. So right here, another entry. Let's copy paste that there. Yeah, looking at this right here, this is wait, this green one. Another entry right there. If you were to let that run, pretty solid straight to TP right there again. So 2 TPs back to back. And there's another one right here as well. 2 TPs right there. There's another one right here. Have another rejection off the pivot in the structure. Pretty much the same thing. There, if you were to let that run, obviously, it would have hit TP as well. So there's a bunch of entries here. I might start looking at GU for some scalps because it looks pretty, I mean, it looks pretty solid for the most part. But let me just go back to where price currently is. So currently right here on GU, let me see. Yeah, there's actually some sell scalps here that are, sorry guys, my dog. All right, let me see. Yeah, going back to this one right here. We'll go ahead and draw these above here as well. So yeah, CT, I do see this right here as well for yours. There's a couple cells here that I guess were possible. I mean, there's a couple buys right here as well too. So earlier this morning, looks like there was a buy here at 520. There's a couple of buys here actually. There was, yeah, this is actually really nice. So like if you took these entries this morning, if you guys are scalping on GU, which I'm sure a lot of you guys do, there's actually an entry. If I replay this over here. Samurai said, I see you have some moving averages on your, I'm guessing you use them as a filter to buy above, sells and below. So my my K2 pivots indicator, Samurai, these 4 lines here, these are, it's a mix between moving averages and other stuff. Like this is my indicator that I created, K2 pivot indicator. There's like different levels here where you can, adjust the moving of it, and you can determine, the strongness of each pivot. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, it's kind of similar to a moving average, but there's other factors. Like they're not just moving averages. There's obviously other factors that come into play, and that's only one tool that we use. The main tool here is the structures, because the problem with a lot of people is they draw structures in the wrong places, right? Like if I turn on the K2SR over here, we have structures placed all over. But if I turn everything off, if I just hide everything off here, people are going to draw structure up here. They're going to draw structure down here. There's so many places to draw structure, right? So the problem with that is a lot of people draw structures in the wrong places. And that's why my algorithm over here like changes all that. It pretty much identifies where all the strong rejection points are, so that there's literally no guesswork. Like for example, we have a structure here, but someone could possibly miss that and they'll draw the structure down here, or they'll draw their structure, down here. There's a lot of places to put it. And it's like, that's one of the other main confirmations. Like if you don't have that, then you're probably going to miss out on some trades, because you're probably going to be identifying like the wrong structure. And it happens all the time, So that's what makes my strategy so much more accurate, because I use actual data to identify these structures. Like I can pull data from like the entire chart versus just what you can see on the chart currently. So anyways, just going back to G over here, this was a rejection off the pivot and the structure right here. So with that said, you could have taken a long position right here for, I think I mentioned 15 pips on the shorter time frames. All right, CNBC just released some news about Democrats plan to unveil new evidence during day 2 of his trial. So, I mean, this is probably affecting the market, guys. Obviously, you know, Trump being Trump and whatever, it's obviously going to affect the market one way or another. So that's just the new news that was just released right here. But yeah, going back to my charts over here, you know, we have this marked up right here. Obviously, you can see it hits full TP, right? It's very simple, guys. It's not that difficult. And yeah, it's pretty much just rinse and repeat. So same thing over here with CT's analysis. I think he was looking for a sell, right? So he was looking for a sell. He probably looked at this one right here, which is, you know, it's a valid sell right here. So we have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. If you were to take a sell right here, I think it technically would still be active, I'm assuming. 15 pips, nothing too crazy. Let that run. And it's technically active right now. So it's active. It was, you know, almost at full TP, and then now it's swinging back to entry point, which is fine. It happens all the time. It's probably going to reject off this point and then come right back down. So that's a good analysis off that CT. I think, yeah, this could probably definitely swing down. It's just going to be a matter of time because everything is kind of stabilizing after the crazy market movements this morning. So that's pretty much it for GU right there. Let me see if there's anything else to look at. CT said price is somewhat trapped right now between structure and pivots. You need to close below. Yeah, I agree. That would be better confirmation. You know, if this was to close below the pivots and then it provides for another scalp entry like somewhere down here, then I think it'd be a lot easier to look at. CT said EA coming back. I'm tired of this pair. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm tired of this pair too, but I'm trying to get out of this. I think once it drops back down, I'm just going to pull out because the market's just all over the place. It's starting to get annoying. And same with my US 30. I'm trying to get out of that US 30 as well. I think when it swings back down, I'm just going to pull out. And then I might just call it a day until Asia session because this session is just crazy right now, guys. It's kind of hard for us to really catch moves because, you know, things just keep spiking around so much. Yeah, sure. No problem, Samurai. Interesting. Looks good. Thanks for explaining. No problem. Medvest said a GJ uptrend on the 4 hour. So I'll pull up GJ right now as well. Let me see if there's anything else to look at. So I looked at EU and GU for CT. Let me just look at Euro CHF real quick. And then Medvest, I'll take a look at GJ for you. Medvest, GJ, GBJPY. Nice. Okay, so I'll take a look at GJ after that. Medvest, but let me take a look at Euro CHF real quick. Yeah, guys, sometimes when the market's like this and it's spiking around so much, it's kind of better for you to just sit out the market, you know, like go take a walk, go walk your dog or do something. I mean, step away for a couple hours, you know, go watch a TV show, watch, I don't know, do something, because it's just too risky for someone to really want to trade during conditions like this, right? Like your odds of you winning are worse than you, the odds of you winning are probably less likely than you losing because you're going to have so much emotion involved when you guys are trading when the markets are bouncing around so much because it's not moving around smoothly and you're not going to be sure whether you took a bad position or not. So I personally would just go take a break. You know, obviously I'm going to be on for maybe like less than an hour. Before 10, I'm going to get off and I'm just going to take a break and then figure out what I'm going to do for like the next couple hours. Because I know if I stay on and if I keep scalping, it's not going to end well, right? I'm going to keep taking risky trades. And you guys know how it is. You know, you guys trade too. So you guys understand that when you see market bouncing around so much, it kind of makes you want to take bigger risks. And those bigger risks don't necessarily equate to good decisions in the market. Look at US 30 right here. It's coming back down. So I'm just looking at my US 30 scalp over here. I might pull out of this trade too, guys, because it's fucking around like way too much. I closed mine out. I made about 300 off this trade. I could have held on and went to full TP, but like I mentioned, the market is just bouncing around way too much, guys, and I don't want to mess around with it. So if you want to close out on profit, you guys can. Otherwise, I'm already out of this trade. I closed out like half TP for about 200 or 300 bucks, which is fine. I'm just not trying to risk. I'm not trying to risk anything off like this one trade here because of how it's moving. And then I already know this is gonna hit full TP, and I'm gonna regret it. I'm like, damn, I should just held on to that stupid trade. Nice Vishnu. I know Camo locked in $100 off that scalp. Nice work, Camo. Good work. Good work. Man, you stacked up some pretty nice scalps today. Camo just sitting in on this, huh? You've been killing it, bro. Nice work. So let's see. I'm gonna go back to EURCHF right here. I just finished drawing these zones. I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator. All right, cool. So right here we have the rejection off this point. Same analysis I've been doing pretty much with every pair. Rejection off that point. Sell signal. It's attempting to break below the structure. If it ends up closing below the structure, then it's probably going to continue to push down further and further, right? So that's kind of what I see happening here for EURCHF. CTU said a buy for this one. I'm trying to see what you are looking at there. Look, US 30 is about to hit full TP. I already know it. It's going to hit full TP, and I'm going to regret getting out of that trade. But I'd rather be safe than sorry, guys. It doesn't matter, because even if I missed out on this full TP, I don't want to make it back on the next trade. You guys saw how many entries I showed you. I showed you the same strategy on Forex, gold, indices, crypto, everything. I can just go pull up another pair and just pull another scalp if I wanted to. But, I'm going to stick to what I know, and I'm going to keep trading US 30. So anyways, looking at EURCHF, so there's a couple of scenarios that can work out here. This can either break below here, and then if it closes below here, obviously I would take the sell. Vice versa, if it ends up swinging up from this point, which is a possibility as well, and closes above here with a buy signal, then I would take the buy off this. There's just too many scenarios here that can play out. I mean, technically there's two big scenarios, but this can also just consolidate this way as well until it ends up determining which direction to go. So for EURCHF right here, I mean, I don't necessarily have a bias, and my bias is probably a sell right now, but this can reject off this point. It can reject off this point as well. So it might not last very long, right? And for me, I want to take a trade if I can take a home, like not a home run, but I want to be able to catch this right here, like this move from here to here, right? For like 45 pips. I'm not going to catch this little move right here for like 7 pips. Even though it drops even further, it can drop further down here. If it drops below here, then yeah, I would take that sell and then I would write it down. But I mean, for me specifically, I personally don't even like trading the CHF pairs because they're just, I feel like they're very tricky. So I'm probably gonna hold off on this. Let's see. Vishnu said, seems like these kinds of market conditions for US 30, we should just aim at 230 pips. Yeah, exactly, Vishnu. I agree. That's probably best for now because the market just moves a little too crazy. Let's see. Vishnu said one more and you'll be in the plus zone, Camo. Yeah, definitely, Camo. You just need one more scalp, bro. You have one more scalp win and you're pretty much good to go. You'll be solid. Samurai said the trades you cut early always turn out to be the best ones. Exactly, right, Samurai? I hate that. It happens all the time. Look, I've been trading for 10 years and it still gets to me, guys. Like I still have problems with trade psychology sometimes when the market's moving crazy. And so it's no reason for you to be discouraged if you guys close trades too early and you guys hate when that happens, because it still happens to me too. It doesn't matter how long you've been trading. It just depends on how you feel for the market. If I'm not there 100%, I'm going to pull out and profit. I'm not going to risk it and then be sweating for like a good 1-2 hours. All right. Samurai said USDCHF needs to see a huge daily head and shoulders breakout retest. Let's see. USDCHF. On the daily. Okay. So yeah. Let me pull up another chart. I know you like to trade on the daily. Full TP on the scalp. There we go. What did I say, guys? I pulled out early and it fucking hits full TP. Oh, man. Some BS. It's all good. If you guys caught that right there, full TP on that scalp, let's give you guys an update in the room real quick. Every freaking time, guys. Every time. the K² scalp called on the live session today. Just hit full TP plus 5,500 pips. Just giving you guys an update in the chat for you guys that are in there. And I'll put the I'll just forward that over to you guys over here. Salim too. Salim was like, should have held. Same, bro. Same. It's all good though. I mean, you know, you win some, you lose some. I still made profits, so I'm not complaining. I'm like, whatever. Whatever. All right, guys. So we're looking at CHF. I think, yeah, I was looking at CHF. I think Samurai mentioned head and shoulders on the daily. Yeah, that's crazy. You trade those patterns on the higher time frames, huh, Samurai? Because every time you mention something, you're always like on the daily, and I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it. I don't have the trade psychology to swing trades like that. Let's see. So I don't draw, like I don't trade patterns at all, guys. So if I do draw a head and shoulders, it's probably gonna look really ugly because I don't trade that. But I'll see what I could do here. Where's the tool at? There we go. I can't even remember where the head and shoulders pattern thing is. It used to be. All right, whatever. I'm not gonna draw the head and shoulders. I was thinking about it, but yeah, I can see this right here. You have the, so I'm assuming this is the shoulder, the head, the shoulder, and the pushed up, right? Or I don't know if you're anticipating, if you identify this as a different one. Did they take the tool off of here? Oh no, there we go. So I'm not sure if this was the head and shoulder that you were talking about, Samurai, but I mean, it looks like it. I could be wrong, but who knows? I mean, it played out just like, you know, how it should have. So I'm not sure if that's the head and shoulder you were talking about. I mean, this is inverted, obviously. Let's see, unless you were thinking about this, that it was going to play out over here. Oh, actually, no. So there's a head and shoulder in both directions, Samurai. I'm not sure if you noticed that. It looks like there's one right here. There's one right here that goes straight up, and then there's another one that's right next to it. That's actually I don't know. I don't trade patterns, so I don't know what to look for because I don't usually trade like this. But I guess there's another one here developing as well. So good to know. Looks like it might. If that's the case, then it looks like it might drop a little further, right? It could drop about another 40 pips. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, okay. So let me go back to the chat real quick, see if I missed anything else. Oh yeah, sorry. So Medvest wanted me to take a look at GJ. I think that's it for the questions here. Last question is going to be GJ. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll probably continue to look for some scalps here. I'm hungry, man. I want some more profits. So I'm probably going to, sorry. I'm tired. I'm going to look for some more scalps, but I'll look at GJ as well. Because Medvest, he said he was in, let me check the chat real quick. Yeah, Medvest said he's in the trade. Okay, he's in an uptrend. So I'm assuming you're in a buy, right, Medvest? So I'm gonna go and analyze this from scratch. So I'm gonna take everything off the charts right here, zoom out from this point, turn on the K² SR so I can draw these zones for you guys. You guys can see where the rejection points are. So we got that right there. That right there. that right there. We got this right over here. This right there. And then we've got this one right here as well. So once we have those zones drawn up, we got to get these upper zones. Nothing on the 8 hour. And the reason for that is just we just want to know where the rejection points are, right? So we want to know where should we be getting out of the trade or moving our stop loss and profit, you know, once it gets to that point. So looking at GJ right here, I mean, if you guys saw my analysis from, I analyzed this like a couple weeks ago or like late last month. I was mentioning that, so I mentioned here that, you know, the same pattern that I've been looking at, like I've been analyzing the same exact thing for you guys for literally everything. So for example, right here, I was identifying this as, you know, rejection right here, buy signal right here, breaking close past structure right here. That said, I'd identify this to come up and break above here. When it ended up breaking above the structure right here, same thing, pushed up to the next structure, broken close past structure right here. So this is where the original entry happened right here. And I mentioned that I anticipated this to push up to this next structure, right? Because price generally pushes from structure to structure, like I've always mentioned, and it just keeps repeating itself. So right here, it hasn't finished the move yet, right? It's still pushing up higher to this structure. So it's still got a ways to go. So Medvesk, if you're in a buy right now, I think you're fine. It looks like it's going to continue pushing. But, you know, like I was mentioning earlier, it's just going to be, you know, some sort of, you need some sort of confirmation for it to actually push up. Because, I mean, this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to push up all the way there. It can easily push down from this point. And then as it starts to create new zones here, which will possibly happen, you know, there's probably going to be like a zone that will get created somewhere like there or something like that. Something like that. If there's a zone right there, then, you know, we can end up reversing because we can get like some sort of rejection off this point. And then if we get a sell signal, you know, somewhere down here, it can come down. But I think overall you should be fine, Medvesk. I still have a bullish bias on this because it hasn't finished the move yet and there's no new zones above this area. What I would do is just make sure to confirm the zones, right? So make sure to look at your chart, turn on the K2SRs like every day, just to see if there's a new zone up here. Because if there's a new zone up here, you might be in some trouble because it might swing down. Overall, there's no zone in this area, so you should be perfectly fine. And I think it's going to keep pushing up further. So that's pretty much it for GJ right there. Cal said 60 watching, 50 likes, make it make sense. Yeah, guys, no, if you guys could do us a favor and just like the stream and follow the YouTube channel, that'll definitely help us continue to grow this channel. And it'll give me incentive to continue coming on and, you know, trading live with you guys every morning. Because obviously, you know, when I trade live with you guys and I'm answering questions, I get distracted. That's why, like this morning, I sort of missed the US 30 trade right here. I had to get in like below here because I was answering another question and I missed this candle closure here. So, you know, if you guys want me to keep coming on live for you guys and giving you guys these trades live for free, you know, I don't charge for any of this stuff, then, you know, just give the stream a like and then follow it so we can continue to grow this channel. Otherwise, you know, I'll probably just do this on Zoom and then it'll probably only be available to the premium members. So just keep that in mind, guys. I don't mind helping you guys out. It's just, you know, it just takes time out of my day and it takes money out of my pockets when I miss these trades that I, you know, would like to take. So just a quick reminder. Anyways, I'm going to look for the scalp right here for this US 30. Looks like it's rejecting off that yellow pivot. If it ends up closing below there, we have about 4 minutes left on this candle. I'll be taking another short position right there. And I might even make my TP stop loss a little tighter because, you know, like I was talking about earlier, the market is just moving kind of iffy today. So I'm waiting for the scalp right here, guys. If this ends up closing right there, we can take it. Otherwise, you know, we're going to hold off and then possibly sit out the market until Asia session because the market's just been too crazy this morning. And I just don't want to get caught in any of these crazy market moves. Because if I could give it a few likes, I would. Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks, Biko. I'd appreciate that. Yeah, no. So I'm waiting for this right here to close, guys. We have about 3 minutes left on this candle. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm probably going to log off a little early today. I just don't want to be tempted to keep taking these trades when it's, obviously a risky time to be trading. Nice. So Salim actually closed his profit for plus 38 in profit, 318 in profit. Nice. Rami closed with 200 in profit. Yeah, guys. So just keep in mind, I'm just looking at the chat over here, guys. So Rami closed for 200 plus 200 bucks in profit. Salim closed for about 300 bucks in profit. I closed for 300 as well. And like, what Camo mentioned over here, he said we got out early, but exited in blue. I'll take the early exit win over holding a deep L. I agree with that too, guys. So when the market's moving crazy like this, sometimes it's better for you guys to just close out in profit rather than, hold on to these risky trades. Because we really don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen 10 minutes from now, 20 minutes from now, an hour from now, which could highly affect the position. But this looks good right here. If this ends up closing, I'm going to take it and then ride this down. Wow, look at that. It's spiking down like pretty heavy. All right, we got about 2 minutes left on this candle. I think after this, I'm probably going to call it a day, guys. And then I'll call Forex trades if I see them. But, with how the market's moving, I don't think I'm going to call anything anytime soon because, guys, the market is just all over the place this morning. It's spiking. It's not really safe to really take these trades. Euro auto here is pissing me off. It keeps going back and forth, in profit, out of profit. And you guys just don't want to get caught in these unusual market movements, right? Because you don't want to enter a buy and then it ends up spiking down, you get stopped out. You don't want to enter a sell, ends up spiking up and you get stopped out as well. So everything else here, is fine for the most part, but there's just no entries that are really safe to be taking, at this time. But let me go back to US 30 real quick. All right. So this is probably gonna be the last trade, guys. I'm just waiting for this to close. We have about a minute left. If it ends up closing, I'll take it. And then I'll be signing off for the rest of the day. Well, not for the rest of the day. I actually have a bunch of, let me see. I have one session today with Joey. I have a couple sessions today, actually. So the next session's at 4 p.m. my time. If you guys want to sit in on that session, just make sure to turn on your notifications on YouTube and that you guys subscribe to the channel. That way YouTube knows that you want to see my videos and they'll send you an update. Well, they'll send you an email when I go live because I don't post those links up. So we've got 50 seconds left on this candle, guys. I'm waiting for it to close below. Once it closes, I'm going to take this scalp right here. And then I'm going to be signing off for a couple hours for the next session later today at 4 p.m. my time. So we got about 30 seconds left on this candle, guys. Just holding on, waiting for this to close out. All right, 25 seconds, guys. All right, we got 20 seconds, guys. We got about 15 seconds, guys. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm in the sell, guys. So I took the sell right there. Let me set my parameters real quick. There's the parameters for that position right there for that scalp. Modify my TP stop loss. Stop loss is at 31413. 03 actually. I'm gonna adjust it to FTMO parameters. 3. All right, so we're good right here on that. Why are the numbers wrong? 31413. 31313. All right, looks like we're good. I'm in profit about $100. It's not bad. So there's the parameters for that scalp right there, guys. I'm just gonna set my alerts real quick. And then we should be good to go. Looks like it's dropping pretty nice. All right, so it's currently in profit. I'm in profit about 200 bucks right now. It's looking good. But yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I think we're pretty much yeah, good for the most part. Yeah, Thomas, no problem. Yeah, feel free to sit in on all the sessions, Thomas. I can answer any questions you have. I can help you, learn things. So I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. I'll be live for the mentoring sessions later today if you guys want to sit in. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the chat for the Telegram, and I'll answer more questions there. Hopefully this hits. So I'll check in with you guys if this does hit, and then I'll send you guys an update in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to take a break real quick, probably hit up the gym, and then come back for my mentoring session later today at 4 p.m. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the session. Just a reminder, if you guys haven't already on your way out, if you guys can like the stream and follow the YouTube channel, that definitely help us continue to grow this channel. And I'll continue to keep giving you guys these wins every single day. So, all right, guys, catch you guys later. And I'll see you guys in a few hours, I guess.